You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Nosfero, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
wants to eat it.
I have tried to be your friend, but you will not listen to me. So you invited this monster. Don't make me kill somebody.
Woo! While they sleep, we work. While they sleep, we work.
Good morning, come on in. Coffee's good, fresh and hot. There's a waffle in the baker on the grill. We're making bacon. You're always welcome back.
Charge!
There's a fire beneath my skin. There's a fever that makes me ill. Gotta love, a love that kills. I got 24 hours to live. Come back. I'm down on my knees. Come back. I'm begging you, please.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine morning at 2:22 a.m. here, or late evening, wherever you are? It's good to see you guys. I'm doing a little bit of work here. Let me move this camera or this light, see if we can't see a little bit of this underpainting I'm working on right now. How are you doing? Let's see who we've got here in the chat. We have got American Comics Company. First and foremost, you are always in good company when you're with American Comics Company. There you go. Thumbs up to you too as well, guys. Smash that like button. Slap that like button. Whatever fickles your tansy. We've got Jonathan Jetty saying hail, but I'm also here. Again, I'm doing this all day. What about indeed? And hail to you, my friend. It is good to see you guys. We've got Gabe El Taib. Hey, brother, what's up? How you doing? I just played your trailer a few seconds ago, man. So a pleasure to see you here in the chat. I hope you are doing well. Looking forward to tomorrow. I know we're going to be talking about a great film, and that should be great. And yeah, looking forward to it, man. As always. So what do you call it? Yeah, Gabe is been posting some cryptic tweets out there, and yeah, all will be revealed. I am certain. And it's good to see you, man. So let's see. We've got J-Bot here. Who needs sleep? Not this guy. Let me tell you something. Who's got two thumbs and doesn't need sleep? This guy right here, guys. Let me do this too, because I'm just realizing something as I look at this here. I feel like I could stand. Oh God, where's that? There we go. God, can I get this to work? Is the next question. Whoa, it don't need to be that big, but I feel like I could stand to make that a little larger so I could see you fine people and you guys can see me. Oh, I saw. Thanks, man. Book is looking killer. Yeah, this book is coming together, guys. Nosfero is looking great. I'm just doing some work on non-Nosfero stuff at the moment. I wanted to do some rough-in work. I just finished with the CG team. So for anybody who caught that show, I hope you enjoyed it. And I also want to make sure I say that CG team, there's an objective that I want to make sure that we do over on that show. And that we do everywhere. We are very close to, as a CG, what do we call ourselves? I don't even know what we call ourselves. Syndicate, dare I say? Or outfit is what I usually say. We are so close to getting Battle Brick Road to 6 figures. I am now referring to it as the Battle Brick Road to 100K. So we will see what we can do, but that is going to be my new personal mission here, because it is so great to see everything that Eric's been doing. He's probably lettered every single book you've ever seen in Comicsgate, and now he is on the brink of this incredible milestone for Battle Brick Road. So I am looking forward to us taking the Battle Brick Road to 6 figures, to 100K. So let's see what we can do. So yeah, so I'm working on some acrylic washes right now, putting this stuff out there. Feel free to share this on Twitter. This is an unannounced stream because I just felt like streaming and didn't really feel like going to sleep yet, and wanted to do some painting. So here we find ourselves. I'm working on this piece right now. I've been looking at a lot of Gil Elvgren today. And one of the stranger things, if you don't know Gil Elvgren, a famous, one of the most famous, if not the most famous pinup artists, the thing about Gil Elvgren is, and I didn't know this till recently, but Gil Elvgren and I have an incredibly similar signature, which was really weird, like how he signs his name with the brush. Let me see if I can adjust this. Sometimes I don't know if that light does me any good. I feel like that's almost easier to see there. So let's see how that does. J-Bot, what is up? Let's see what you got to say here. Yes, I'm actually working on oh, wow, cool. The T-Jaw art contest right now. 3 words: justice, rocket, and launcher. So we will let Gabe see if he can figure out what you're trying to tell us there. I have my own guesses, but I don't want to be presumptuous. So you never know. So whenever I'm laying down, washes on the stuff that I'm doing, one of the things that I'm always thinking about is, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put some temp value on there because this is just the block-in phase anyway. But I'm always thinking about just getting those values down onto a painting as quick as I can, because you can always sort of adjust things. But once you have your composition figured out and your layouts figured out, it really is just a question of making sure you rough things in. And there's, particularly when you're doing something where you can work opaquely, whether it's gouache, acrylic, or whatever it is, the main thing I think is to get value down on the page and let the colors start doing what they're going to do. So that is what it's about for me at this phase. And I know where this composition is going. I've got all that stuff sorted. So this is kind of after I do the layout and get that roughed in, this is the fun part. This is the part that, depending on what one's definition of fun is, and for me, painting is quite fun. It's now about making something that people are going to see and they're going to want to, 1, buy the book, as they say, and 2, wish they could own the painting, or wish they could put their nose to it and see how it was done. And fortunately for you guys who are hanging out here in the chat and have watched me continue to watch me, thank you so much. Like and subscribe, very important. Continue to watch me make artwork. You guys get to kind of put your nose down and see this stuff and see how it all comes together. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to offer you guys a ringside seat to the creation of comic book work and all of the amazing stuff that you see happen on these streams. So yeah, that's what we do here. We're here to entertain. So that's what it's about. And it's funny, I was talking with someone earlier today. Actually, I was talking with the CG team guys earlier today, and we were saying, man, everybody was streaming tonight. But I will tell you, it's always good when there's a lot of different, streams going on, because to me, it feels like it's because things are so vibrant right now. And so my attitude is there's so many things going on that it's always good when people wake up in the morning and they're, looking at, well, what happened? What I miss? That they have a lot of different stuff that they can kind of choose from. And that goes with live streams. That goes with everything. And it's really about just making sure we're putting this stuff out there. That's really what it is to me. And I got to make sure I'm getting the streaming time in and the painting time in when I work, because, or when I have the chance. And that is really what it's about for me. God, I love painting so much. It's so fun. This piece I'm actually doing quite large because I was looking at Gil Elvgren's work and I was really inspired by it. And I wanted to make sure that I did, did something that I could really get into it. And in terms of the detail, but also just in terms of the scale. And so you're seeing me right now in this early rough-in phase. I want to get some values down on this figure so that, because it's the thing that I think obviously is the central focus of this painting, but it also kind of just gets that out of the way. There's this timidness that can kind of sometimes happen when we're doing work, or at least when I'm doing work. And I like to sort of thumb my nose at it and just start throwing in values and throwing in color and composition. And no matter how many washes of different colors I do, I'm going to start out with a flesh tone sort of, warm color here so that it's always working through and fighting its way to the front as I go in and I put the rest of this stuff together. And I like I said, when I come up with a layout and when I come up with an idea for a painting, it is, when you have a breakthrough and you get to the point where you're like, oh, I am so excited to paint this. It's the best. It's just a great thing, when it happens, you just kind of go, all right. And you can't wait to paint it. I was starting another page of Nosfero today, and I had that exact same thing. I started roughing it in and I went, this page is going to be so good. And it's the same thing with this painting. You just can tell sometimes when you're doing layouts that it's going to be something special projects, special paintings. It's what we do here, And so as I look at, Truth, Justice, American Way, as I look at my comic Nosfero, as I look at Terror in the Trenches, as I look at Battle Brick Road to 100K, I sit back and I say, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world of creativity and imagination that I'm in right now. Could not ask for or wish for more. It is great stuff. And so, just working to put together a figure that's going to be something that, you see, and it's going to call to mind. Let me see if I can get that. I hate the flicker on this thing here. Is that the light that's giving me the trouble, or is it? It's not this light, because this light's timed to work with this camera. We will have to ponder that, folks. Let me see if I get an angle on that, if that's a little less. There we go. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, Apex Comics, what's up? I'm loving this traditional painting. Yeah, let me tell you something. Everybody in CG is bringing something great to the table. It is like it's so funny. It's got so many layers to it, but one of the layers that I love is that it's almost become this unintentional skill share where everybody is just like, this is my technique. This is how I do this, down to like how we stream and how we do everything else. And so I love that aspect of it. And so, I love bringing the traditional painting stuff to it because that's my particular emphasis with my book. I want to do traditionally painted comic books and traditionally painted pinups and everything I do. And so it's fun. And I love digital. I edit videos, as you guys know. I do intro videos, all that kind of stuff. But that's all just, these are different facets. And this is the one I really like to give people a look at this figure. What is up, Lord Crackhead 33? How are you doing, man? You got to be going to bed soon, Jeremy. My goodness. I hope you have the day off tomorrow or something. Actually, maybe you do have the day off. Is it raining tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be on site or not tomorrow, but let me know in the chat, man. Let me know in the chat. It is. It's going to be raining here tomorrow, I know. But hail to you, brother, my brother. Jeremy Lord Crackhead 33. Oh, and by the way, man, I got to say this. I saw the link you sent me the other day to the show, but I was not in Twitter at that point. When I saw that you guys were wrapping up, and I was like, dang it. But I would have loved to have popped in. I just was, how do I get this camera to do what I want it to do? There we go. That's a little, whatever. We're just going to wing it here. Apex Comics. I have the day off. Very, very cool. Nice. Glad to hear some of you guys are getting a little bit of downtime here. I mean, if we can call what we do downtime, it's kind of more like collapse time. Laugh out loud. Yeah, working tomorrow, hitting the hay in a bit. Good. All right, my friend. Well, you chill till you can chill no longer, and then you hit the hay, my friend. Well-deserved rest after, I know, a long day of work, a long day of streaming, a long day of promoting Comicsgate and having an amazing show and being in the chat and modding. One of the most enthusiastic supporters of everything we're doing here at CG is Jeremy Lord Crackhead 33. For the record, let the record show that this is the case. And so as I kind of put this stuff together and I do these washes to build it up, I can always edit. I can always move things around. But I want to make sure when I'm painting that I sort of, the main thing to get in there is the gesture and try to have the character start to feel solid and really let me rephrase that. It's not so much about having the character feel solid as it is about getting the character in there so you have something to work off of. One of the hardest part about doing work is, that you overcome almost immediately the second you start putting marks down, is the empty white surface of the page. Once you start getting rid of that, it's way easier. No, I'm back. Booyah. Who has a new grandson? Oh my God. And 2 thumbs. This guy. Congratulations on the new grandson. That is awesome. Hail to you, everybody. Let's drop some congratulations in the chat here. It's great to see you, my friend, and hail. Congratulations on that. Jeremy is the overtime comic skater. You're absolutely right about that. Apex Comics. Congratulations, man. That puts me in a good mood. That lifts my spirits. Not that my spirits were low, but they have gone up from where they were, because good news is good news. Great to hear it, man. Congratulations. Yeah, wow, indeed. Congratulations. Look at that. This is why we love this crew so much, man. It's because we celebrate all of those milestones, and many of those important milestones, we achieve and we experience and we share in the chat and on these streams together. And that is what makes it so great. So congratulations to you, my friend. And wonderful to hear that. I am glad I fired up this stream. That is, can't ask for any better, outcome than hearing about a wonderful new little person coming into this world and getting to share that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, everybody is saying congratulations. A Devil Flyer Momentum, good to see you, and hail to you. Congratulations. Wow, congrats. Hail to you, my friend. Congratulations. Nice. Yeah, we're all happy. It's been a crazy helping the kids out, and all 2 weeks old in 12 hours. My goodness. So happy to have a second grandson. I had so many girls in my life. Hey, listen, it's nice to have some fellas around. That's the great thing about Comics Gate. That's great. Maybe, may he be happy and healthy. There you go. I got that. I could tell what that said. That is so great, man. That is so great. So let's see here. I am not happy with whatever is going on with this light. Let me see if I can bank it off over that way. Does that do anything? Does the camera focus? Let's see here. If I turn this light off and I move this one over, because that's clearly not this light. Maybe I'm just seeing it, but I feel like you guys might be seeing it too. And let me do this. Hang on a second. I'm going to move this camera up and over. And then there we go. Then I get a little bit more space. At least you guys can see a little bit more of what I'm working on. So yeah, it's great to see you guys here at the Waffle Lodge at this hour. Look at this. Thank you, chat. Everybody is excited and happy about it. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. So I'm going to rough in some more values. One of the things about this too, when I'm working is that you can adjust this stuff, you can edit this stuff, you can always change it around. But those initial phases of getting the value in really are what you build everything else off of. And sometimes, not always, sometimes I'll be a little bit more particular with some of the things I'm doing and kind of erase out a lot more pencil. But for me, when I'm working on this, I know that there's certain things I want to kind of keep in there and have them be roughed in. So I'm not sweating it too much with the process that I'm using here. I'm not stressing about, getting everything perfectly clean in terms of how I build it, because it will be clean in the finish. I just want to make sure that I keep some of the kinetic energy that I've got going on in here. And just keep it really nice. As John Malin would say, keep it 99th Street. That's how it is. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, hey, DD. Yeah, Dying Days of YouTube. What's up? Gosh, man, it's great to see you here. Hogan the Bogan, my main man, my can of spam. It's all about money. Roach Balls is one of the finest trailers that I've seen in CG. You did a bang-up job on that Dying Days. Hat tip to you, my friend. Still looking good on having a daughter. Oh, very cool. On having a daughter in August, man. Life is fun right now. And the daughter who's all cray, and not wanting to be like the rest. She has a bow and things are getting surreal. Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me see here. Hey, DD, Gabriel L-Type. Pretend this is a $50 super chat. I want to stay up and watch, but I have to go to bed. Listen, I understand. I am going to have Dale Keown on my channel tomorrow at 10 a.m., and I'm going to color that werewolf live with him. Excellent, guys. Check that out. Subscribe to my brother from another mother, Gabe El Taib. It's great to see you, my friend, and sleep well, brother. Yeah, everybody's saying hails, and I can't wait for Nosfero. Man, let me tell you something. I love that comic book. Guys, I know all of you guys, and most of you guys have backed it. If you haven't yet, do not sleep on that. I will show you guys while we're here. I'll try not to drop it down in the wet paint. But I'm going to show you guys. I started this page today. This is another page I'm working on right now. And it is going to be another one of those frames where this character's got these kind of mummy wrap horns that come off of his head. And then it's going to create space for panels in there and in there. It's going to be another one of those Shanth pages where the panel borders, like this one right here that I know a lot of you guys have seen. This is one of my favorite pages I've done on the book, where the snake's body is creating the various panels. You see how we've got a panel created here by the snake's tail from this panel, which is a third panel, and then we've got another panel here that's created by that snake's presence. And what my buddy who's an artist, friend of mine who's done a lot of really cool works. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is going to be, hey, what's up, Dan? Good to see you. Yeah, just did some streaming with Gabe and Gary. Yeah, I saw that. I checked that out for a second. Thank you for the link in here, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Yeah, Dan, I saw that. It was awesome, and I love that page. I'm going to tell you this, guys. This is for me, I'm in the prime of making my work right now. I have never had the kind of everything coming together like it has been. And I am so proud of everything I'm doing. And I can say with absolute confidence, Nosfero is going to blow your minds. The visuals are going to be so sick. And the pages I'm working on, every page I do, it just seems like it's going up a level. To quote or paraphrase the great Mike Tyson, my style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. I'm ferocious. There you go. But I'm loving this stuff, man. And hail Mike Tyson, wherever you be. We love you. And one of the things for me as I'm putting this stuff together and as I've been working is the stuff has just been getting better and better and better, stronger, and everything is just really coming together. And as this comes together and as I work on these paintings, I'm getting more and more bold with what I'm attempting to do. I'm, saying to myself, make these layouts something that is show-stopping. Like, make these pages something that's show-stopping, where people open up this book and they're like, I want 2 copies of this book. One that I can save and make sure that I have not just one to bag and board and resell and all that stuff, which is all fine and good if people do that stuff. I used to do that when I was a kid. But I always did it much more one to read and one to save like new, so I would have it later, which is a very weird thing. I don't know if any of you guys collected comics that way, but that was the way I did it. I really did. Yeah. Hey, Dan, bro, that looks, thank you so much. I appreciate that. J-Bot, Apex Comics. Hey, Dan, Lawless. That might be the most metal thing I've seen in CG. Much love. Shanth is in his prime, and it's an honor to watch this come together. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, whenever I read that, I always think of, I hear it in Doc Holliday's voice. Not me. I'm in my prime. With the necessary of Val Kilmer in that movie, who was just brilliant. And it's like when I'm looking at, let me just I wanted to grab some reference I had here somewhere. See if I can find it now. Oh boy, hang on a second. I want to grab that because I'm going to go in and put some detailing into this. And I know I've got where is it? No, there it is. I've got all these different files that I can look to for what I'm going to do on this. And what is this file right here? Oh, that's good. That's useful. Huh. Cool. I didn't know I had that. So yeah, I'm always looking at what I can do, to kind of bring this thing into, focus. And I've got my reference photos. I've got all this cool stuff because this is going to be, like I was saying earlier, this is going to be a very Gil Elfgren, kind of painting and piece. And as it comes together, that's what I was going for. We are syncing up. Yes, I love that stuff, man. I love Tombstone. Tombstone's great. I know it's one of Phil's favorite movies, to be sure. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm just going to go in and put a little bit of a highlight right there on that hip bone. Kind of just give that a nice little highlight. Those highlights make the world go round. That is what it's about. And there we go. And this stuff may move around and may shift over time when I paint. But the main thing is to start to really get a sense, for me anyway, of what the lighting on this is going to be. Here we go. And the thing about working at this scale, which is not something, I mean, I wouldn't say it's nothing I do, because as I sit here, there's a tiger painting behind me you guys can probably see, which is way larger than this. But it's not something I've done for a CG project or any of that kind of stuff lately. I haven't done that kind of thing. And I found myself thinking, like, hey, what's up, Bogan World? How are you doing? My God, what are you folks doing? I guess Bogan World answers that question. It's the middle of the day for you, but it's great to see you, my friend. And I can't believe all you crazy people are here at 3 a.m. my time. Just thought I'd do a quick stream. I'm your Huckleberry. You're a daisy if you do. That's right. Yeah, hail Bogan World. But I sit here and one of my favorite things in the world to paint, as you may or may not have noticed, is the female figure. And one of the things people always ask about that, and I think it's because the female figure is such a incredible natural work of aesthetics by any objective measurement. And you can see that in how often it is the subject matter. And the thing about it for me, as I look at this stuff, is that it's one of those things that is and Dan Lawless here in the chat knows a few things about this, because he's excellent at it. It's one of those things that is very difficult to do well. And so it's a challenge that I think a lot of artists really enjoy tackling. And there's a lot of things in this painting that are like that, that I'm tackling, but I just have been doing this long enough to where I know how it's going to come together as a finished illustration. And that's the thing that's so exciting and compelling to me right now about doing this. Let's see. No. One of those movies I saw as a kid with my dad, and it stuck with me like Glory. Oh, Glory is one of my favorite movies of all time. Those movies spoke deep to the idea of what it means to be a man. Yeah, Glory hit me like a ton of bricks when I saw that. I hear the soundtrack in my head from time to time. It's just one of those amazing, beautiful, heartbreaking movies of, I believe it's the 54th Massachusetts. Love that movie. I'm good, mate. Been busy working at work, so been missing the streams lately. Well, I'm glad you could be here and see this one. Hey, what is up, Dan Plagle? Good to see you. Sup, friends? Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like this is crazy. The gang's all here. Hey, Dan Plagle. Boob Dan, what is up? Yeah, man. Yeah. Look at this. Look at you guys. You characters. It's great to see you here, guys. It's great to see you, Dan. I hope everything's going well. Yeah, since we got Dan here, I hope you guys don't mind, right? I hope you don't mind. But we got to do a quick, a very, very short, I promise, very short, but necessary, if I can find it anyway, commercial break. It's only 39 seconds. Hold on a second. Here you go. There you go, folks. Had to do it. Had to be done. My goal is to paint realistic enough. Did someone say Nosfero? Well, you did, Billy. How you doing, man? I was cracking up. Way to be a gangster, by the way, with my man, my brother Eric Weathers. Look at all my brothers coming together. Brothers and sisters, it's good to have you here. And because I had just gotten word today that, and I'm not going to show it right now because I don't have it queued up, or I don't know if I'm going to show it that way, but I just been contacted by my art director on a VR game I did concept art for, and he said to me that I was okay to show the concept art I did, which is very cool of him to. I mean, he's a friend of mine too as well. I mean, you get to know people, and I've known him for a long time. But it was cool to that he took the time to reach out and say that. You know what I mean? Makes you, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, makes you miss the fun of 40K and D&D. I agree with that 100%, 100%. And it's funny, you know, you put stuff out into the universe of like what kind of work you're looking for, what kind of art you're looking for, what kind of books you're looking for. And sometimes I really do feel that, you know, that's that Joseph Campbell thing, right? Of feeling like sometimes you're being helped by hidden hands. And I certainly have benefited from some incredible, there we go. I'm trying to figure out the best lighting for this. That's a little better, but I definitely have had that feeling lately that, you know, the people that I'm around are just a really solid crew, and everybody is just looking to work together and collaborate on things. And it's really cool to see, to see all of you guys working and, you know, putting together projects and connecting with people. And it's just awesome, man. It's my favorite thing about CG. Let's see what we got here. Easier to draw guys because there's a natural roadmap of creases and lines that allows you to construct a face. Women are so smooth that construction is much more difficult. Yeah, I would definitely say that. And I think that, for me, the thing about it that is kind of also fun about it is there's different types of figures. And as I look at what I enjoy about, you know, Gil Elfgren's stuff or any of these amazing, masterful artists that I'm inspired by, it's also the challenge of capturing something that really just kind of hits you as aesthetic. And you don't think about the fact, like, yes, you know, it's a painting, but it's almost like it's, I suddenly am hearing, more human than human, but yeah, has that kind of quality where it transcends what it's not in some way superior to what you would just see walking about in its pure biology, and what a really great photographer captures, and what a really great painter or artist captures. And so that's the thing I'm always shooting for. The bar has always got to be, you know, relatively high when I'm doing this stuff, because that's what inspires me. You know, that's what inspires me with the work. And so, yeah, I've been, the first stage obviously is compositional. And then the next stage after that is, break some of this stuff down a little bit. The next stuff after that is to then start roughing in the figure and roughing in those forms and those silhouettes. And that's the part that I never lose my enthusiasm for, because it is so it's so fun to watch these things come to life. You know, it's so fun to breathe all of the energy into it. Dan is saying, I'm looking forward to Nosfero adventure. Awesome. Yeah, can't wait to get it, friends. Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you this, man. This is the thing, right? And I showed this page just a second ago. This has oh, hold on a second. I got it. Like, guys, I love showing the chat, but I'm so funny. I keep forgetting to take it down. This is one of my favorite pages I have ever painted. And it is not even done yet. It's at the 90% phase that I always like to get pages to so that I can come back and adjust them. And I just started another page today. So I started this painting and another page of Nosfero today. So I've just been working. I mean, I wake up in the morning thinking about Comicsgate projects, go to bed thinking about it. And I know that Dan is also incredible, and Billy as well. Everybody in the chat, Dan, we're all very prolific in what we're doing right now. So there's work, there's whatever else we've got happening. And I love collaborating with people who are friends and who are fellow kindred spirits as far as art goes. And I love hearing about everybody's projects, which is why, of course, I uploaded all those trailers here so I could share people's trailers, you know, and share like what they're working on. And that's the fun bit for me right there. That's what makes it enjoyable. There we go. Starting to get this roughed in. And I'll do when I work, it's always going to be an additive, subtractive process for me. So it's just, it's the way I do it. And so you guys, you know, I was telling my wife today that I said, it's not normal for most of us to just paint in front of people. But I always go back to those things that John Malin always talked about, which is it's like we're all introverts. We're all, you know, we're all like, you know, we don't. It's tough to put yourself out there, but I would just say, just do it. You know, like that's what you got to do. Now let's see here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Nosfero. Thank you so much, my friend. Just poured a whiskey. Cheers, Comicsgate. Yeah, man, I don't have a whiskey because I don't drink. I don't know how to word it. It's not my bag. I'd rather eat Slim Jims. However, I have my coffee and I'm gonna toast you, my friend. If I had whiskey right now, I would be out, fall asleep, dead asleep. But yeah, it's all for me. It's about the thing about it is making CG as cool as it can be, and I'm raising the game. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Tip of the hat, brother. I really want to make sure that every project in CG I'm affiliated with, someone hires me to do a commission, someone hires me to do a pinup, someone hires me to do anything in CG, I want them to be happy with what they get. And it's all to kind of, you know, I want people to see what we're doing here and have so many cool things that are going on in CG that they see it as a place where they want to come and say to experience great artwork and experience really amazing creativity. And that's what we do here. That's the thing that we're doing that is so fun about all of this stuff, you know, is that we're really pushing those boundaries with what we're doing. Let's see here. Here we go. And so, yeah, I mean, I want us to be doing some of the best artwork, which I think we're doing, but I want us to be continuing to do the best artwork that's in this art form or, frankly, any other illustrative art form. And I think we're definitely getting there. Absolutely doing some of the coolest stuff in the world. All right, let's see here. Cool. Got that. And now, nice. There we go. We are, because I got to move that back. And let's see what else I've got here. Okay, Lord Crackhead 33. Gabe is making a comic to speak to the soul of the modern comic readers, and Jonathan's making a book reminds us of the power of the medium. Both are admirable. The future looks bright. Yeah, the future, guys, is absolutely bright. And I want everybody, I am the opposite of a black pillar. I'm not, it's funny. They talk about black pills, white pills, talk about all of those kinds of things. I am enthusiastic about the future, but it's thoroughly rooted in pragmatic looking at things. I think you're seeing with a lot of stuff that happened this week, you are seeing a turning of the tide or changing of the tide or whatever you want to call it, of people starting to rediscover their love of liberty, their love of freedom, their love of all of these kinds of things and creative expression. And in a lot of ways, and I hate to talk about it, and I won't really go into details, but of all the crazy things happening, there was one particularly crazy pop culture moment that happened recently that I know you guys know, where people kind of got a mirror held up to them. And that was amazing. Yeah, Dan, I agree with that. That's a very, I appreciate that, those kinds of words, and thank you guys so much. And I think people sat back and said, is this who we want to be? Like, is this what this is about? Do we want to live in a world where it's just filled with, anger and, just trying to silence people and people are just done with it, man. People are just done. And it's a great thing to see more and more people going, this is not what I'm about. Like, I want to have fun. I want to celebrate, beauty in this world. I want to celebrate. And ultimately that's what my paintings are about. Like, that's whenever I do something, if it's horror, if it's monsters, whatever it is, my attitude is it's about bringing beauty into people's lives, and when people, some of these paintings, I don't sell a lot of originals. I do original, I'm obviously selling, there's a head sketched here. There's one of those left. But I don't sell my originals typically. In rare cases, I do sometimes, but it's not often. But I want to make paintings that if somebody does get one of my originals, if someone is willing to pay what I'm going to charge for originals, that they get something that they're really happy with. But even seeing a reproduction of it, I want it to be something that is beautiful and inspiring and takes people out of their day to day, as artists. God, I hate that light, man. I hate the way the light's working right now. I always feel like I'm going to figure out that light one of these days, but it is what it is. So let me see here. Okay, so we're getting that together. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, everybody's saying hi to each other. It's great to see. And so when I'm looking at this stuff and I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do with this? It's, aesthetics is really what's driving everything. I'm going to have this at a weird angle for you guys. My apologies. But I got to make sure I think about painting at an angle is you get these weird warp things that happen. So, one of the reasons why it's tricky to paint on stream is because there's what looks good for you guys in terms of what's the best angle for you guys to see. And then there's what's the best angle for me to be able to see what I'm doing. So there's always those compromises, right, that we have to make. But, I think it's worth it to be able to share these things. And I'm learning all the time different ways to kind of get, the most I can to you guys in terms of these streams. So yeah, I'm just going to rough in a blob there for right now because I want to make sure I have that marked. There we go. And there we go. And I'll adjust all of that later, but I just want to know where it's at until I figure out. Actually, what was I going to do? Oh, I remember what I was going to do there. Cool. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Let's adjust this and see. There's got to be more than 8 folks in the chat. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, it is late, guys. It is late. I'm amazed. I actually thought nobody was going to be in here. I was like, people will catch it tomorrow. But I should have known better. This is Comicsgate. You know how it is. People are staggeringly awake all around the world at odd hours because we are a global phenomenon. It's funny. We're not. We were talking about this today, and I don't mean this as a slight, or I don't mean this as a, to undermine all the things we've done, but we are a very small group of people. and we're growing it all the time. People are finding us and finding what we do, and I love it. It's really inspiring. But I am amazed nonetheless at just how we just show up all the time, man. We show up to do these things, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see. Yeah, there's got to be more people out. Hey, yeah, hit that like button and tweet out the fun. That's how to boost signal. Absolutely, Bogan World. It's early here. That's right. Antoine Dennison, how are you doing, my friend? Tip of the hat. Well, Bancroft was streaming too. See, that's it. Yeah, Bancroft is streaming too. Everybody's streaming, man. Everybody's streaming. I'm still here just lurking while I'm working. Hey, listen, man. That's right. We gotta be out there hustling, man. We gotta be out there working. So understood, my friend. I appreciate you being here and just listening and chilling. That's what it is. I could be painting by myself. I could not have been blessed with all of my many artist brothers that I have met as a result of CG. Grateful for that every single day. And yeah, it's never lost on me how. Let me see if I move that light, if that's doing anything. Because this is the thing for me, is that I don't know if you guys can see that flicker, but it drives me nuts. Let's see here. Sean, I'd like to buy a few sheets of that paper stock. What's it called? Okay, so this paper stock right here is Crescent. Is it Crescent? Yes, Crescent canvas textured boards. So it's got a canvas texture, but it's paper, pressed paper, like an illustration board. And it is really fun to work on. I have to tell you, I have really been enjoying working on this, and I'm learning all the time, of all the various capabilities it has. But yeah, Crescent board. Hang on a second here. Crescent board. Okay, here you go. Edit copy. They should send me some money for this, man. But I'm just kidding. They're not going to send me money because they're going to send me art supplies. So there you go. Dick Blick, there it is. Crescent canvas boards. That link, Antoine, is going to take you straight to it, my friend. Straight to it. And that way, it's like I like to share like all of this stuff because, look, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, I mean, I don't know how many of you grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, but when I was growing up in Chattanooga, one of the things I was always loved and was desperate to be around was people who liked comics and would talk comics, and people who knew about art, any of the interests I had, who wanted to have conversations about it and sharing all of these different things. And even if it was just somebody who frankly had no interest in making artwork, but just liked art and was a fan, like so many of you guys are, I like boxing. I'm not a boxer, but I live for that sport, man. When there's a great fight on, man, I can't even tell you. I just love it. Like Lee Wood's fight against, oh my gosh, Conlon recently was one of the greatest fights I've ever seen. One of the greatest comebacks and one of the greatest fights I've seen in a long time. I've seen some great fights. But that one's great. Antoine Dennison and Sean's look related. Yeah, we might very well be. I will, at this point in CG, I am willing to believe anything. I've had so many unbelievable serendipitous things happen. I am officially like, I'll believe anything at this point. Like, I really will. It's wild. Yeah, when Dan was telling me about delivering newspapers to one of my childhood homes in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan, I was like, all right, fair enough. The world is it's a small world, and it's a miraculous one at that. So, and honestly, that's a huge part of what Nosfero is about too, oddly enough. Is just about, I like writing stories where it's about people and characters, I should say, because I don't know, werewolf is a werewolf to me in a good way. But it's about people finding each other and different characters coming together and finding each other, and all finding the ways in which they're going to be integral in each other's lives, and they're going to enrich each other's lives. And that's one of the things I love. Hey, what is up, Camel Moon? How are you doing? I knew you, of all people, would be awake at this fine hour. I'm looking forward to your book. I'm so excited. Hold on a second here. Oh, let me see here. How do I... hang on a second, my friend. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I just realized. Is your campaign closed, Camel? Let me know in the chat. Look at all you people. Andy is here. John is here. What is up, guys? Yeah. Ayo, Bancroft stream ended. So glad to see you streaming at this time. Have you seen the show Primal? I have not yet, but I've heard good things. Just binged it myself a day ago. I'm pumped for the next season. Guys, always looking for it. Always looking for requests. Yeah, absolutely. Look at all these guys. Look at all these troublemakers. I'm here. Where's my link? Yeah, that's right. Do you mean a link to your stream, link to your chat, or a link to get in here? Let me know. What's up? Hey, guys, how are you doing? Yes, closed yesterday. Yeah. You're here. Where's your link? Your link to come in here. Let me know. I'll send it to you. Hi, Sean. Bogan Raid. Yes, you got to love the Bogan Raid. Yeah, Camel, let me know if you want to pop in here and say hello. I'll send you a link, man. But yeah, man, I'm just sitting here painting and working on this and doing some pinup stuff. Yeah, leave a like, everybody, and always appreciate it. Hey, Lord Ravener, good to see you, my friend. Look at all you guys. Yeah, I'll come in and say hi. Cool. All right, make it happen here. I just got to find out where I've got you in the chat here. Hopefully I'll find you fine here. Let me see here. Add, and let's do, come on. How do I find this? There we go. Sorry, I just saw that, your thing here. All right, here we go. Hold on a second. Yeah, moving at the speed of stop. Copy to clipboard. And there you go, my friend. Boom. Let's see if that gets to you. Let me know if you get it. And we'll go from there. Hey, what's up, STA? Good to see you, my friend. Nice. Living the life, been out a bit, helping one of my daughters with the firstborn. Life is blessed. Yes. Everybody say congratulations to Nana. Got a new grandson, and we're happy for you. What is up, Camel? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how are you? I don't think I've ever been on a stream with you. I mean, maybe.
Well, you haven't been on my stream. I think we were on streams together in maelstroms of lots.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
That makes sense. All right. Just, burning the midnight oil. I was like, oh, Chance is doing something and I'm drawing. So
that is the best descriptor of what I was just thinking. Well, I'm doing something.
Do something. Might as well hang out.
That's all we got. Yeah. Oh my. I apologize, Camel.
Camel is over. Yeah. Well, Bancroft was like, you want to come over tonight? And I went over there and there was another dude there. And he was like,
I know.
Yeah.
You were like,
I'll leave.
I pictured that scene from Burn After Reading when he grabs his, his inclined sleeping pillow for his acid reflux and storms out the door.
This is what John Malkovich does that?
It's with George Clooney in one of, I think, his finest performances when he's like, I have a lactose reflux, and John
I do remember that. Okay, I saw that movie like 12 years ago, but okay.
That movie, we love Malkovich in this household. He's a treasure. His comedy is amazing. So, how are things going, man? You've closed up the campaign, and now it's the mad dash.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've told the story in multiple places, but Indiegogo came knocking, and they were like,
"Yeah,
what's up, brother? Where's your updates at?" And so I put a bunch of updates, and then they were like, "Oh, that's cute. That's a nice campaign you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck, bro? And and they said, we need they had this ridiculous list. They're like, we need purchase orders, we need invoices, we need photos of merchandise and this and that, shipping labels. And I was like, I just wrote a very quick response. I said, no. you get nothing. You get nothing. You get absolutely you're not in a position to dictate how I run my business.
Yeah.
And so there's like a conversation going around that, it's like, well, these are the new terms and services. And correct, these are the new terms and services. These were not the terms and services that I signed up for when I started the campaign. And so I think what it must have been was there was a bot that was just like, any campaign that was over whatever it was, 16 months or something, they were sending out, these auto-generated compliance emails. And eventually I got an email today. Was it today or maybe yesterday? And they were just like, oh, yeah, we looked at your updates. You're all good, dude. And I was like, well, thanks for the whole bunch of nothing, So, but because I had already told people that, this was a possibility of coming down, we had that last, 48-hour rally that you were part of. So thank you very much for getting that.
My God, man. Of course.
And, we got 30 8 new subs or
Backers.
purchases. Yeah.
Yeah.
In 48 hours. Well, you know, for a campaign that had, you know, closed over a year ago. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. And we ended up with just over $9,000 from when we actually ended the campaign. So it was, you know, it was definitely a good thing. But you know, at that point, even though they said I could keep it up, I was like, well, I don't want people to think I was lying to them, and I was going to have to get rid of the campaign anyway, whether it was this month or next. So I just closed it.
There's when it comes to you, man, and I hate to even put this up on the screen, but there's a lot of jealousy with where you spend your time. And I think people need to realize that if they're going to put up a fence around Camel, he's going to jump that fence.
What,
You know,
what the
he's
fuck
not-
is it? What jealousy is that? I don't do
Replicator
anything
Rob-
to anybody.
Rob is saying you're whoring yourself around. Like, this is
Oh,
twice. Now,
wow.
this could be an Australian thing. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
here to, you know, to deal with that. But it was really odd. I mean, they basically, you know, Vader Lando'd you. You know, we've altered the deal. And
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that was such a
100%.
weird thing, man. It's so
Yeah.
weird, but
Pray
It
we
is
don't
what it
alter
is.
it any further. And I just laughed.
yeah, I
at
know.
him. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
guys. See ya.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah, that's a weird one, but you know, I think we've all been sort of watching the you know, the very I feel like there's a lot of upheaval right now in all of these platforms trying to figure out what they are and what they're about. But there
Yeah,
also
I
is
don't
an
even know if they
SCP.
know.
I don't think they do. I think they're in a if it ain't broke, fix it till it is mode right now. So
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes, man. But it's craziness. But man, that's looking great, dude. Wow.
Getting there.
What are you
It was
making that
very-
in?
Claris Works. Do you know what Claris Works is? That's an old.
Yes, of course I do. I'm not
Yeah.
a child. I was around.
Kid Picks.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing it in Clip Studio.
Nice. Yeah,
So I
Clip
have-
Studio is impressing me, man.
Yeah,
It's because it's got some of the best things I like about. It seems to have some of the best things I like about Illustrator and Photoshop rolled into one. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
nice.
I can do fun stuff. Like I have this sort of digital pattern back here.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know where any of this stuff is here in my layers, but yeah, so you get a whole idea of like how many layers there are per page.
Nice.
And then at the top, I actually have this sort of like this dot matrix that I'm using to make it look a little bit more like a print. So I take that.
I love that, man.
So yeah, it's very graphical, I guess I should say. But you know, it really helped. Like this was the page I finished the other day.
Yeah.
And so I can do some cool stuff with like spider webs and like, you know,
Oh,
Ethan's
that's so
mohawk
cool.
has a hologram and
Oh.
yeah, so it's fun. It all
Yeah,
comes
I'll
out
tell you
pretty-
this. You know, look, you know, you're past the point, you know, where you have to sell me on it because I've already backed and it's too late now. You know, it's
Yeah, refund it.
Well, I love, you know, and I was talking to you about that artist I was talking to back in the day, and I've always loved work where it's got that kind of particularly in digital, it's so possible where it's got that tactile quality of the old Zipatone or the dot patterns. Of
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
Because I love comics. Like I love comics. Like like I told someone once, I love like I've got this old like Silver Wolf from back in the day. And Dan Plagle knows Tim Vigil stuff well, but it was like screen tone and old school colors, and you could see like where the screen tone was just a little off in certain places and the way things come together. And I love that about comics, man. I love feeling like there was this, you know, that they were their own art form, you know, and you could just hold them in your hand. I just love that stuff. But yeah, I'm psyched about that book.
It's aggravating in a way too, because I've done a lot of different art. I've done graphic design. I've had shows in Manhattan for, you know, like paintings, you know, I've like some full gallery openings. I've done all types of stuff. And I always come back to comics because comics truly to me is like, it's the pinnacle of the hardest art form to master. And I also think it's the most interesting. Because you have to be able to tell a story over a certain amount of time, and every page is like its own sort of like graphic design puzzle. And you know, it takes a certain type of mind to be able to do it. And it feels like it's only been in the last few years or so that it's starting to get that notoriety and credit for being that. Whereas before it was just always kind of seen as sort of looked down on.
Well, what is it? What does the French call it? It's like, is it like the ninth art? They have a name, a specific name or number. They did a gallery show a while back. I forget what, and a friend of mine got me the catalog, and it was basically, I think it was the ninth art, and then it had, someone in the chat's gonna know. And I remember thinking, wow, that is like really, it's wild to see a culture that is so passionate about comics as an art form. And I think we're catching up, but it's going to take us a little bit of time. What do we got here?
I mean, even Japan's ahead of us. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I feel like, I mean, maybe someone could correct me, but didn't it originate in the States? I mean, for the most part, comic books.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It did,
So,
without a doubt.
Like Yellow Kid and all that stuff. But like,
and then
after
innovations, right? George Harriman, with Crazy Cat, and that is, every now and again, somebody comes along who just sees everything so different. You know what I mean? And changes the landscape. And George Harriman is that for me, man. Like, that Crazy Cat stuff is nuts. Love that stuff. And of course, I'm a huge Winsor McCay fan. Love Little Nemo and Slumberland. That stuff's amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, they taught us about all that stuff. I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York.
Oh, cool. How was it?
It was cool. It was kind of like, I kind of think about like Harry Potter, because you get there and it's like they have that speech from Top Gun. It was like, you are here because you are the best of the best. And
do they really?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was totally like you're in this big auditorium, and they're like, look to the person next to you, and look to the person to the side of you, and apparently they have an old timey accent, but it was very much like they're your best friend and your competition, and it was just like.
By the end of the semester, one of you will be dead, possibly.
Yeah. By the end of the semester, one of you will be a rock star, and the other will be working at the library. And that's true. I mean, there's a lot of people who end up working at the libraries. A lot of people who end up working at art stores. It was cool because, it was in Manhattan, and there's a lot of, shit that was happening in Manhattan. I mean, like one of my professors was Klaus Janson. So that was cool. And, he got to tell us all about. No, there's some people who don't know. It's fine.
Okay, then I'll say one of the finest comic book illustrators and inkers for the love of all things that's ever picked up a brush / pen / anything.
But
New York is where it's at.
And we had a lot of cool people come talk with us. We had like is it Devin Orkin? The guy who worked on Space Ghost. I want to say Aaron Sorkin. It's not him, but it's
no.
The guy who sounds like him. It's like something Sorkin, Devin Sorkin or something. And so he came. Sam Keith came and spoke with us for a while. I'm trying to think who else. One of my other professors was this guy Joey Cavallari, who was like one of the top editors at DC for
I remember.
Yeah,
so wait,
he hated me though. I was such a jerk off.
Yeah, I had some pretty prestigious comic book teachers who hated me too and were total jerk offs whose names
Evan
not
Dorkin.
included, but
Thank you, Apex. Evan.
There
Dorkin.
you go. See, I went to Rhode Island School of Design back in the day, and I can tell you none of our graduates ever ended up working in art stores, Targets.
Yeah. Well, RISD was a pretty prestigious school. Like I even applied to RISD,
Yeah, I've got so many great disses lined up for it, but I'll let you finish your thought. I taught there for 15 years, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was from 2003 to whatever 2018, I guess. I was teaching there, and I graduated there in 98, I think it was. And I have to say, I learned how to not do the things I was passionate about. And I'm slowly being deprogrammed by myself away from that. Because they really had a disdain for anything mainstream. Like, I imagine that SVA because you guys were in New York, in the heart of things, you were at least seeing, how do I word it? There are a lot of people, I feel as though, in terms of faculty and other people, who seemed to need to feel like they both wanted to be in New York, and many commuted from New York, and then also needed to think that they were somehow, I don't know, above it all. And unfortunately, when you're in the commercial arts, that's a really idiotic attitude to have.
Mhm.
It's like, you need to meet editors, you need to meet people actually doing it, and not people who have a disdain for it, you know? And it was just like, yeah, it is what it is. You know, the police came, the FBI. Come on, man. Rob loves us. Let's see. Sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, it was such a great and vibrant time in comics. I did go to school with I met some really cool people there, some good friends. And I met my wife there. So, you know, can't complain.
Are we the
But,
same age? When did you start going?
I started going in 94, 95, that academic year.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're a whole class ahead of me then. Okay, because I didn't leave SVA till 04.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. So I was teaching when you left SVA.
Oh,
think.
okay.
Yeah. So I was teaching in 2003. So, but it was, you know, it was crazy because I was this kid who came up from Chattanooga, Tennessee, went into that world, and I wanted to do comic stuff. And every which way I turned, someone was like, you know, comics are for Arrested Development people, this, that, and the other thing. And I just wanted to learn how to really draw and paint. And I think that, and I learned that stuff on my own. But yeah, comics is one of those things to where I feel like it's, you know, I wish I knew how to quit you attitude that I have to it, which is I've always just kept coming back to comics, man. You know, I love it. It's so great. It's the best.
Yeah, I think you ever hear stories too from, like, not everybody, but a lot of guys like Denny O'Neil. You know, they'll be like, I left comics and then I got back into it. Yep. You know, it's like, it's something you grow up with. And then some people are like, okay, I need to, you know, because even for me, I was like, oh, I'm an adult now. You know, like, even though I went to school for it, it was like, you know, might as well have been trying to become an astronaut. So I was like, all right. And then I went into film, which in the early 2000s, you know, you had the digital revolution. So it was like, it seemed possible to actually get into that field. Except the fun thing is that, like, the gate kind of went up right after Kevin Smith, because at that point it was like, oh wow, almost anybody who's a paraplegic can make a fucking movie. So we're just we're going to it, you know, it just became harder, and the gate went up real high and real thick. And so it was like, well, you know, I made indie flicks for about 10 years. And then as the tech became more available, you know, it was like easier for people to do it. And then they started, like, Final Cut would come out with these softwares or these upgrades where, like, literally they would edit for you. You know, you put your clips in there and they're like, we'll make your trailer. And I was like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. And then, you know, film started to hit kind of rock bottom as a whole. And I was like, I'm just not interested anymore. So I got back into comics because I was like, I need to be able to do something that not everybody can do. And so I worked on a book for about 10 years that's not even out yet, but it's my next campaign. And so I was like, but I was starting to get pay attention to Comicsgate, and I was like, that might be a really good audience, because I was able to tell I had gone to Comic-Con with an early draft of this book, and everyone just said no. And I was like, all right, well, either I'm no good or the tides are shifting. And once I saw what CG was putting out, I was like, I think this would be a better option. So I was like, plus I can make my own money versus, you know, it's like, I think a lot of people want to get published just for the sake of being published. So, right. So they can say, look, even though I'm living on peanut butter, I can go into Barnes and Noble and I can find my book. It's like, yeah, but great. And then if no one's buying it, no one's buying it.
Well,
and so
that's the thing though, isn't it? That's like, this is the thing about art school that I think is, or I should say academia and all that other stuff, that is the thing that I finally kind of realized, like, oh, like maybe I'm just the slowest study in the world. This is what you guys care about. people seem to really care and want to deal in status. So even if it's not a real success, it's something they could say, well, I was published by,
sure.
or I
Yeah,
spoke at. And I actually want to make stuff that people want to read and buy and be entertained by. I'm not in this because, to me, the way I put it is, when you're growing up, and your dad is South Asian, it's kind of like, there's no caring about, hey, I got into RISD. It's like, what kind of doctor can you be then? It's like, it's all worthless. Do you know what I mean? So the status of all that stupid shit, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you failed by you succeeding in this, if that makes sense. It's like, for God's sake, and so I sit back and I'm just like, I think it's, to me, I'm very much, I love the work. I love the, I need to sort of feel as though when I'm working that there's this tactile quality. I need to produce something at the end of the day for people. Like, that's what I love. I'm not in this to say I'm an artist. I'm not in this to say I'm this or that or whatever. I'm, when I'm working on a pinup or something like this, I'm like, I'm here to, I'm looking at Gil Elfgren and the history of all the people who do that kind of work. I'm looking at, I don't know if you were a fan of Ren and Stimpy and stuff like that. But,
sure.
Bill Ray, one of the background painters on that, and oh God, who's the other guy? Dan Kroll and all of those guys. They could throw down. Do you know Dan Kroll stuff at all? I mean, like, you've probably seen it, but do you know?
I think so. The name's really familiar. My friend was really into all that stuff in the 90s, but nothing's really coming to mind.
Oh, no worries. I just want to see if I can find. Good Lord, I love when I love the websites of artists that like don't get updated, and it's like, you must have Flash 7.
Oh my God, yeah.
Or something like this. But I'm going to share. Let me see if I can find this.
Was he the one who was doing those like extreme close-ups that were all airbrushed?
That was Bill Ray and Dan Kroll, I think, who did that. God, I can't even.
Yeah.
This isn't his stuff. But yeah, he did all that stuff, and it was really breathtaking stuff. Great color theory, but he also worked on like one of the more recent Scooby-Doos, and the color theory in it was sick, man. I mean, it was nice stuff. And so, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm always into. So I love the pulp nature of comics. Yeah, I can't find that thing. Let me go back to the chat. See what we got. Oh my God. You can tell Camel has never been poor, living on peanut butter, not noodles or rice. Peanut butter. What the hell? Rob.
Peanut butter has protein, okay?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, Rob's never been to college.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, the lore behind Rob, like, I picture Oliver Twist in my head, this Dickensian Australian upbringing, bleak house.
More noodles, please.
Exactly.
Noodles.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
Ramen?
Clout chasers living on cat food is absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that is true.
Yeah.
You see a lot of these like compendium books that are put together, or these, like, we're gonna get all the artists we know, or we're gonna do a book about,
get all our friends,
fat chicks. It's like, no one wants that. You're gonna get you and your mom to buy that, and you're gonna sell 60 copies. You're gonna win an Eisner, and no one's gonna give a shit.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother bit of bullshit there. Speaking of when they turn things into status and they're not based on merit. I mean, there was a moment when getting an Eisner was an actual thing.
Oh, sure.
And at a certain point, it became a joke, right? I mean, because we lived through that. The completely, Eric July talks about that, and Eric cracks me up because it's like the way he puts things is so very Texas. And sometimes I miss that, the way he just, he's got some excellent one-liners, but he was just
lays it down.
Yeah, he does. He was talking about the perceived legitimacy, and I think the Eisners were an example of the perceived legitimacy being eroded by that influx of politics. It's just embarrassing. Change peanut butter to ramen, editor's note. There you go. SDA, yeah, man. CG animation needs to be built. Yeah, that's going to happen, though. That's already. My son, I should say, is my kid. He's watching this later going, what? He's 16 and he's doing he's got his first pro freelance job doing animation in Blender. Like he's working, doing stuff for like television because there's such a need for people. And he's one of those kids to where, you know, and it's weird because people go, where did this kid learn this? I'm like, we don't know how Blender works. The last thing you want to do when you're teaching art, when you come home, is ever talk to your kids about art. It's tragic, but true. He just sat there and picked this stuff up. And I was saying to Eric Weathers recently, I was like going, I really do feel like we're building this talent base around us to where all that stuff is going to fall in time. You know, it's a matter of time. Hey, what's up, Duarte? Good to see you. And Michael's there. What's wrong with peanut butter, Rob? Oh, shoot, those two are going to kick off now.
Yeah.
We should have never given them money. It's
Rob needs
terrifying.
to go.
Yeah. I like almond butter better. There you go from Apex Comics. People are weighing in legumes, says John. Whenever I see legume, I always think of City of Lost Children for some reason. Everybody's saying hello. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not cheap. Dan Lawless says, speaking of color theory, what did you guys think of Klaus? Blew my mind. The animated Netflix show, Klaus. Did you see that?
I never saw it. I don't know what it is actually.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought the aesthetics of it were great. It showed that such things are possible and outside of the big studios. And I think it kind of, to me anyway, in terms of its skill that it was showing, just sort of showed what Disney missed the opportunity on. But then if missing opportunities was nickels, they'd be rich right now.
Right.
They're man, talk about, I watched this interview one time with Steve Jobs where he was talking about how big companies fail, and he was using Xerox as his example. And he said the problem is the engineers come up with these great ideas, and it's very hard for engineers to innovate in giant jumps. So they have a big innovation, and then they start saying, well, the only way we can really increase business is if we have more marketing people. And so slowly they bring in more marketing people and push out those engineers until you've got people who don't know how anything works at the business promoting it. And that is absolutely what's happening at Disney. They're like, Disney for not our target audience. And I go, well, good for us.
I mean, first of all, Apple stole Xerox's idea for the mouse, or was it the desktop? I mean, so it's kind of like, well,
yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, again,
guys.
Who was it who had that diss? Oh God, it was a brilliant one. They were talking about technological innovation, and it wasn't Elon Musk, but it was somebody who was in tech who said when innovation became a turtlenecked asshole showing me that I could watch TV on my phone, I was like, holy shit. It was a pretty tough one. When they all get together and do an anthology, it's to dilute the failure. You're absolutely right. Those little cliques of hipster posers.
Oh yeah, it is
making stuff is just nauseating.
And
Sean
it's
just
also
called Gabe Eisner a joke. Confirmed. No, Gabe Eisner's legit.
I think. What was it Antoine said? I had a thought.
Oh, sorry. When they all get together to do an anthology, is to dilute their failure. No one.
Yeah, I think it's also to. Shit, I forgot. Oh well,
to put all their nickels together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's so that they can, when the book comes out, they can be like, look, we're trying to do good, So if you don't like it, then you're a bad person. Look at all of the talent we brought together. It's just like, no one cares. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is the crazy thing about it, right? Like they don't realize that when you do an anthology, there's an averaging that happens. And if you average like 10 ones or 10 twos, or if you add up 10 zeros, the sum total is not that impressive. And so you'd see those things. I guess the thing to me that was the most frustrating was the lack of vitality and creativity in the quote indie scene. It was so about conformity, and it was so about, I don't even know how to describe it. There was just no humor. It was all very staid, is the best way to put it.
I started noticing it like before Trump was president. It was like 2014, 15, 16.
Yeah.
And like there was some really weird shifts happening. And I was like, one of them wasn't even like a woke shift. It was like a storytelling shift. Like I was,
Yeah.
people know, like I'm a big Batman fan. So I'd
Yeah.
get whatever Batman book was out, and I wasn't getting a full story. I was getting like Batman and Robin talking in the cave for 20 minutes. And I'm like, this is not, what is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
And I was
exactly.
like kind of perplexed by it. And you wouldn't be able to get a full story unless you read like one of these like 6-issue volumes. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I guess that's okay, but I kind of feel like I spent a whole lot of time around nothing. And so I started seeking out older books and essentially just rereading stuff from the 90s. I was
Yep.
like, oh, it's all here. The whole story's here. I don't feel like this need to go out and essentially reread everything. Because, like, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that was coming out was just like, oh, look, we're going to kill Robin again. Oh, look,
Yeah.
there's another metal Batman replacement guy. It's like everyone thinks Batman's dead again. Bruce Wayne is wanted for murder again. And I was like, you literally just did this a decade ago. Like, I don't understand like why
They
why
have
was
that.
such
That's more history than these people, as you know, were walking around with. And the thing you're saying that I think is very interesting here is so you're saying that when you are essentially working all day in a dark cave making artwork, you don't want to read a story of someone sitting in a dark cave for your escapism. You know, it's like, good God, man, these people. What are you gonna do? You know, what can you do?
there was no more adventure anymore.
Yeah.
And it just, or the adventure was so ludicrous. It was like, oh, Batman's going to an ice planet to fight a giant crocodile monster. And he needs magic powers from Darkseid. I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Do you remember what Batman was? Like, you know, he has a magic metal suit built from the sun. And he's like, you know, built like from Superman and Wonder Woman. And I'm like, I don't understand like what happened at what point.
This nobody knows continuity. This is the thing, right? It's what is it? It's like it's like that Dunning-Kruger effect, but like a weird variation of it, where these people are too dumb to know they're stupid, and they assume they can't imagine that other people know more about this stuff than they do. So they assume that a story they could tell themselves and pass off is a story they can pass off to everybody. And it's really weird. You know, it's like when people who don't know how to draw and know how to make things try to go and become college professors teaching drawing and painting classes. They're like, let's talk about concept. Because they can't draw or paint. And it's like, the only job you have is drawing and painting. If you don't know color theory and you're hired to teach color theory, you should be ashamed to take that job. And when there's an absence of shame, you should feel the awesome responsibility. We all make these mistakes when we're young, but editors used to actually bust balls when people didn't know what the hell the story was about. And they stopped at a certain point. I don't know what it was. It was almost like, I believe the children of the future, let them lead or whatever.
Yeah, they were afraid of getting fired, right? I mean,
yeah,
just afraid
seriously.
I can't possibly say anything because, you know, I'm going to be next on the Me Too list.
Yeah, exactly. How do I get this to work? Hang on a second here. Let me do this, and then I'm going to do, wait a second, add to stream. There we go. Yeah, they were crazy times, but I'm grateful for all of it because that's how we got here. You know, to the point where we could do this. I mean, what did Hail Salad close out at?
44,000, and we ended up at 53 when I closed it yesterday.
Yeah. So think if you had done an anthology, and I'm just spitballing here, with some ramen eating, cat food eating friends. I mean, think of what you could have accomplished. But oh well. You know, unfortunately, it was a huge success.
I wonder too, like, what do these guys do? Like, all right, so now your book is done. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm just like, do you have a job? I mean, do you do anything? I mean, like, you know, I am in a position now. I mean, you know, I'm married, right? So, like, not every check is dependent on what I bring in, which is nice. But at the same time, it's like I made enough with that campaign that it was able to, you know, bring food into the house. And then now with the YouTube, you know, YouTube, I have, you know, believe it or not, a steady source of income. It's not a ton, but it's like dependable.
I
And
do
it's
love
like,
the
all
way
right.
that you said married, like you were confessing to supporting dogfighting. That was excellent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
Well, no,
I'm married. I know, I'm
Married.
kidding. That's just,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you meant. I'm married too, man. I just thought it was great. No, you're right. Sorry, you were saying.
I'm just I don't. So it's like I have we have multiple sources of income,
Sure.
but like if you're doing one of these anthologies, like what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You're not working anymore. I mean, I can't
You're
tell you how many
asking-
times I see these artists that are doing pinups or whatever, like these Twitter artists, or they're on fucking DeviantArt. It was like, well, you did 3 issues of Batgirl, and I never heard of you again.
Yeah. Well, it's not what they're doing, man, right? It's what Daddy's doing. He's
So you think
paying
they're
for
all
all
just
this.
trust funded? Yeah.
No, they're trust funded. They're like they've got parents, even if they don't have a trust fund, they've got parents who are sending them checks to make. Listen, we've all paid rent. We've all lived in various locations. I don't care how many broke people you put. This ain't Friends. You know, if you're living in a apartment
Yeah.
in New York, somebody else is paying for it. There's no convenience store job that's making that happen. Even if all of you are working it, these guys, it's covered. And I know because I've caught generations of those guys. Like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, man. It's a lot of and plus here's another one. How on earth are you going to have the time to tweet if you're working the kind of job you would need to have that place? It's so obvious. I mean, it's usually dad's money that's paying for me to rail against the patriarchy. You know, was it by that song by Cake? I'm trying to think what band it was. It was how do you afford that black leather jacket? Is it you or your parents in that income tax bracket? Always crack me up. And I think that's very much what it is. You know.
Yeah.
It's you know, I love the wait, hold on a second, I gotta read this Michael Bancroft. That's right, Camel. You're married to my wife, and I'm married to mine. No more sliding into Mel's DMs. There you go.
That was the other way around. Just want to point that out.
What exactly? There's a lot of projection going on. You bring out people's insecurities. And
well, when you're this handsome and talented, it's a natural.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Exactly. Happy and handsome is not a slight against all these other people.
Yeah, it's like I'm Superman and he's Lex Luthor. He just sees the skill and he's like, I got to tear him down. Can't let anyone know.
Man, I was just thinking about when you said that, I going, being Lex Luthor would be pretty cool. It's sad when your comic nerd thoughts take you dark places.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, who would I rather be? And what canon are we going off of? Hopefully nothing recent. Oh man. No, it's crazy because it's a shame that or I shouldn't say it's a shame. It's a good thing, but it's also a little bit shocking that while I always was into indie comics and starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the day, black and white times, that if you had told me that American comics, these mainstream huge characters, would mean absolutely nothing to the generation coming up, I wouldn't have believed it happening that fast. Like my kids, actually not my kids, my daughter is the comic reader in our household, but of course it's manga. And she's like no connection to American comics. All of her friends too, no real connection to American comics. It's crazy. It's just unbelievable.
Well, it's like most things. Like things don't end with a bang; they end with a whimper.
Yep.
And it's not like one day. It's like, oh yeah, Batman was riding high, and then they killed him off, and that was it. It was like, no, it's gonna be slow. It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be like methodic.
In prison. Sorry, go ahead.
You're gonna be like, oh my god, what? Like, it's gonna be a total like deconstruction of all of these characters to the point where you're like, you can't even keep the original fans.
Yeah, you can't.
Like usually that's the bread and butter, at least, right? Like you try to get new fans, but for the most part, it's like, well, at least we have the original ones. But the original ones are like, are you crazy?
This is barking is what they're saying, and that's the other thing too, right? It's and this was the craziest thing in the world. Like it's like I finally found an analogy for these American comic book characters, and it's like Madonna's face, right? Go with me on this. It's been a slow, horrifying decline of cosmetic surgery into a person that you no longer recognize. And I honestly, like, I saw those photos. I thought someone was joking, when they posted this. I'm like, that's not what Madonna looks like right now, is it? I was like, oh my Lord. But, it is. It's like watching, these, like, I always thought that, and I guess it happened to Flash Gordon. It's happened to all these comic characters at one point in their various, evolutions. But it's painful to watch, like, Star Wars just limping out, off the stage left. And that's what, I mean, I think people should realize more and more that, that brands aren't, or quote unquote, these brands or IPs aren't indestructible. They're absolutely in the right or wrong, depending on how you define it, hands, completely, possible to destroy them. And that is what we've witnessed.
They, I think, stupidly have turned, like characters, brands, these types of things into like, almost like consumables, like milk.
Yeah.
Everyone needs milk, right? So we can do whatever we want to milk. It doesn't matter how we advertise it. You're still going to show up for it. But or mayonnaise, right? Like I don't need to watch another commercial of a dad making his daughter a mayonnaise sandwich and the two of them are bonding. Whatever. I get it. It's fucking mayo. But like they're going in these weird directions. So like whatever we do with Superman, it don't matter because Superman. It's like, no, that's not. People don't need Superman.
They actually
don't. Other competition out there. And so, it's like this weird cross branding where they don't really know how to sell the character, and God forbid they sell it to the audience that actually wants to read it.
There's a chat
yeah,
that,
all right.
You got.
Where's that? I want to see that slap. Someone make that meme.
I don't know if anybody's wife could come close to making as sour a face as what we witnessed happen that fine evening. My God, that was just it's just excruciating to have watched and contemplate. I
have no comment.
Yeah,
I can't talk about it anymore. I'm just like, it's the end of society. This is it, guys.
I love that was, by the way, the best
at the Oscars now. Like,
the best non-comment ever, which was, I don't want to weigh in on this. It's the end of society.
Yeah, I don't. It's like, it's who gives a shit. I'm just like,
yeah. Well, I always look.
It's
at this
too much.
Stuff, it is. But I look at this stuff though, and I, honest to God, I've been saying, at least with the pop culture end of things, great, more power to us. This is how great indie movements happen. They are on third base with their IPs, and they can't steal home. They just can't steal home. And we're sitting there going, all right, if you guys are going to screw it up there, we're going to come in and we're going to make our own stuff. And that's how comics have always worked anyway. They've never come out of giant corporations. It's never been top down. It's always been, a bunch of young, crazy kids or whatever, whatever they are. I don't know how old Jack Kirby and Stan Lee were when they started crushing it. I know Jack was not exactly, in his 20s at that point. He'd been working since he was probably in his 20s, but
I mean, every industry, whether it's film industry, music industry, every entertainment art industry has moments where it's like, okay, now it's grassroots, and now it's corporatized, and even in the corporate world, they can find a way to really bank on it, right? So like that's when the hip hop scene became big, and even like the 60s music, like the doo-wop stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and then in the 70s, you had like the metal bands and the hair band, and like in the 80s, you had like that kind of synth scene, but like they were able to make it work every single time.
Yeah.
And then even in the 90s in the comics, like, all right, we're going to hire the greatest fucking artists. We're going to let them go hog wild and do whatever they want. And then at some point you get these kids who like inherit their parents' legacy.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I can do that. And they can't. You can't do it. They hire their friends because now it's a glamour profession. And they don't quite understand the art of it. and they only see it as dollars, and they're not willing to push any type of thing that could be possibly offensive. God forbid there's any offense there. And so, they try to make it this real milquetoast product. And it's like, you realize the reason it worked for decades and decades is because it was the opposite of that. Like, you even look back to the music of the 60s, and as tamed as it is now, it wasn't in the 60s. In the 60s, that was some fucking real deal shit that people were like, parents were like, you can't listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like, I gotta buy comics for my kids, and they're like buying them with them. And it's like, no, it should be the other way around. Like, my mom bought me comics if I was lucky. Most of the time, I spent my allowance on it. And she didn't like that I spent my allowance on it. Like, you need to like cultivate an audience that is, that transcends just like an adult giving it to somebody else. It has to be my interest. If it's someone just telling me that it's my interest, I'm not going to be interested in it. It's just never going to happen.
Well, I don't want to be too personal here, but do you have kids?
No.
I love the pause on that. You saw a flash of like you saw the end of the hallway in The Shining. You're like, come play with us. No,
complete with an axe.
Yes, complete with an axe. I'm not even kidding, man. But it's,
no.
the reason why
the horror. No, you saw the end of the Shining. I saw the end of Apocalypse Now, where he's lying there. He's like,
it's closer. But I also see the end. To be fair, it's not all Apocalypse Now in The Shining. I also saw the end of The Omen. But the thing, for me, when I was looking at this, is the reason I asked that is because I had an allergic reaction. Apologies, I'm not trying to offend any fine people out there, but maybe it's just the piss and vinegar aspect of these things. But I actually did not want to pass on my entertainment. Like, I loved Star Wars when I was growing up, but I wasn't one of those parents who's like, I'm going to sit you down and we're going to watch Star Wars and we're going to like this together. Like, I just wasn't. I get why people do it. I think it's actually can be a really cool thing for people, but I almost kind of was like, this is like, I showed them those movies and it was fun. Like, you show kids movies you grew up on.
Yeah.
But it was like, I really kind of wanted to see what they were about, where they went, and with all of their interests, which are, and I was learning about what was going on now. And maybe it was because I was teaching at such an early age, my wife and I both, that we had a lot of different generations there. But I do think that comics is, the idea of buying comics because, how do I word it? It's youth culture and your parents don't get it is something that I kind of love. And I don't want to get everything my kids get because I feel like it's suffocating, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like going, oh, let's both go get, leather jackets. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any kind of sense. But
no, it does. And I think there's no sure way that they're going to get out of that phase as soon as they hit 13.
Yes.
Exactly. Because they're going to be like, oh, no, sorry, Dad. I'm going to go hang out with whoever, and me and John are going to go hang out. And, I'm just not into it anymore. It's like, 'cause I remember growing up, my stepbrother, my stepdad would buy him like model airplanes because he used to do model airplanes. Well, model airplanes are dead. Nobody makes model airplanes.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do. They still make them. But it's not like this like hobby that like 13-year-olds take up.
Oh my God. We just lost half of our viewers when you took that shot. No, I'm kidding.
Took that it's fine.
Shot at the model airplane. That's 40% of CG. No, minimum. No, go ahead.
Is it? Are you kidding?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was like, what?
The model airplane would be God, I wish we had that kind of specific, diagnostics about who our fan base was. But no, go on. You were saying, but model airplanes and someone buys it for you and it's like, hey, I like this, so you like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's okay at a certain age, but it's like, if you really want an industry to thrive, it needs to be discovered. It's in a way like why so many kids when I was young took up smoking, because it was like something they could do. It was like because their parents had want nothing to do with it. And so like it was like, oh, I can do this by myself. I can do it with my friends. You know, it's whatever it is. It's interesting for a short amount of time. And I mean, I don't know if kids smoke like they used to. I don't think they do. But whatever it is now, it's definitely not comics. I mean, because the Marvel universe and what they've been able to do in the last 10, 15 years is like remarkable. But it hasn't done anything. It hasn't transcended the sales in the slightest.
Yeah,
it's like Cecil's talked about this so many times. It's like, how did you fuck that up so hard?
Born on third base can't steal home. It is so like you can't. I remember back when I was, I won't even tell that story, but I had a great analogy for this. But I'll use one of the more common ones that is used for other things. For these people, it's like they're playing pool with rope. And I think you know what that's usually the analogy for. But it's it's honest to God, they cannot freaking make this happen. And what is, again, it's only because of their ineptitude that we're in the position that we're in right now. Because people are starved. How embarrassing should it be for them? Although I don't know if they're capable of feeling embarrassment. The kids were sitting on the floors, including some of them when they were younger, of like back when Borders existed, but Barnes and Noble, reading manga, reading sequential art right next to American comics, and not walking that corner to go pick up American comics. It was 4 feet away, and they were like, "Fuck it, don't need this."
Not doing it. Yeah.
Yep. It is what it is, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it's a new problem. I just know that when I was growing up, I go in the comic store, everyone was my age. There was always one or two guys there that were like 45 and bloated and would not stop talking about the Fantastic Four. I was like,
with their windowless van out back.
Yeah. Like, all right, guy, yeah, Reed Richards, all right, But mostly everyone was in there, and you had kids getting Punisher, Ghost Rider, like these cool properties. And now, like, there's a couple websites I go to, and it shows me what's coming out, and I look at them, and it's like, wow, Ghost Rider, Venom. That's it, guys. I mean, like, did we peak 25 years ago?
Yep.
Like, are you still literally or just like you're touting the exact same character? Like, look at this cool badass McFarlane-esque pose that I did. I was like, what is this? I don't understand why like there's no movement forward in making anything of interest anymore.
If I may just interject real here, KSSS 11, I had you beat. Pall Mall filterless. All right, so let's see. It was my first hobby before comics. That's why, I mean, I honestly, look, I respect John Malin and Ethan, those guys. I mean that sincerely. But when I learned that neither of them had malt liquor before, it affected me because I was like, Crazy Horse, age 12. Come on, kids. Let's dial it up. Sorry.
John Malin, Ethan. Which one's Ethan? I never remember.
He's the white one. And
yeah, I don't know.
He's the one with eyebrows.
Yeah, that helps. Okay, eyebrows.
But no, those guys, man. Like, but that's the craziest thing, right? As I was watching all this stuff happen, with CG when it came on the scene, I felt like I hadn't been to. I actually, that's not true. I'd been to comic shops, but always to get back issues. I felt pretty dialed into comics. But it's a little bit like if you came back from like, a Target or a grocery store, came home, put your, shopping bags in the house, then open up the door and it was Mad Max Fury Road outside. That's what it felt like when I was hearing about what was happening to these guys. Like, I was hearing about your boy, Zach. It's kind of like, do you read comics? Yeah. Did you know it's all Nazis? Wait, what? People are trying to burn them as witches. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Are you talking about comic books? Like, what are you talking about? It's still insane to me, man. Those guys, talk about taking one for the team and blazing a trail. Holy cow. It's surreal to me, man. It is. I never, I think that the backlash is officially on for all this shit, like really legitimately on. But and I mean that because of who I see talking about it in my kids' parents' lives. Do you know what I mean? Who were on one end of it. It's almost
Well,
like, go ahead.
do we still get like? Because I remember a year ago, like there were a lot of people coming out of I wouldn't say coming out of the woodwork, but it felt like, it was an upward battle, right? We were always in Twitter wars and this and that.
Yeah.
And I don't see it as much. And I don't know if it's
Oh, yeah.
because they've given up or because they've moved on or because they're losing. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they're bored, but it's actually kind of refreshing.
It is refreshing. I think if they had the discipline to sustain these things, they would be successful.
Right.
in their
Because
lives.
it's like it's a fad to, shit on it, right? It's like you look good for your friends, but it's like there's so many other things to shit on. That you could shit on anti-maskers. You could shit on people who don't want war in the Ukraine.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
Well,
I'll
that's
just
the
shit
other
on that
problem. There's like all things that get too big or too popular. There's a natural decentralization that happens where there's so many different bandwagon options that you can't make a big singular one.
Right.
And so the group think is actually being thwarted by the fact that there's so many people who are trying to create clout by having their issue be the central one. That is like, I saw this. I'm going to they were interviewing celebrities about how they felt about a particular situation at an award show that will remain nameless. And they were interviewing this person. Try to imagine the woke media interviewing this person, but they were interviewing this African-American woman. And she goes, I just thought him calling her that was really offensive, because when I was growing up, when you referred to someone like that, you were talking about them being a lesbian. And I find that really insulting. And I went, whoa, wait, what? What did you just say? So you can see the press going, I don't think we all have our story straight. And they don't. They don't have their story straight. Because none of these people, like, there's so many things demanding attention to have the right opinion on. People's actual opinions start to come out because they can't keep track of what they think. It's hard to remember.
Right. They don't, they're not. Yeah, they didn't get the memo that morning. Oh, we're not talking about that now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that because you find it like you're actually telling people who are trying to. There's two sides. You're either progressive and you like this, or you're Nazi and you don't like this. But either way, if you're on this side, you can't say that you find being thought of as this particular thing is an insult. Like, those two things don't go together. And I was like watching this going, wow, there's a total breakdown when your opinions and your ideology is built around trends. It's like you can't keep up with it, as opposed to having actual thoughts, which seems to be, that's why they can't do YouTube, man. You have to talk for 3 hours and be a character. Good luck.
I said that too on other streams. I'm like, and when they do YouTube, it's like this weird sycophantic circle jerk where they all just kind of like we're just gonna praise this one thing, and it's no one really has a thought or an opinion. They all just kind of like tiptoe around, like, well, let's see what he says. Oh, I can. Okay, that sounds nice. I'll just go along with that. No one has their own thoughts, and it's just why would you want to watch this? There's nothing here. It's not even interesting.
Yeah, and people don't. That's the horror of what they're realizing, which is when you start canceling and pushing out, their legitimacy came from the fact, and they're too dumb to realize this, that they had a couple of people who were so interested in, or who were being patient with their wokeness, that there were enough skilled people, maybe 30%, maybe lower, that they could point to and say, look, I'm hanging out with this particular comic book artist who works on Batman and is successful. And then once they drove those people out because they're parasites, they started looking around and going, is anybody here getting attention for anything? The answer was no. And that's how we got here. What's up, Jay Lee? Good to see you, my friend. Good evening to you. Let me see here. Pretty much. All I see is Michael's thing at John. Pretty much. And Indian. I have no idea what that's.
Zero context.
Yeah, there you go. Michael Bancroft, the other 5% is Asian. There you go. And Indian. There you go. So I just had to go back in the chat because out of context, that was a fascinating one. But look at us. I mean, what are we doing right now? we're talking, we don't have a script, and we're working at the same time. Like I wonder how much time a lot of these comic creators actually spent working on their craft and drawing, doing the grind of doing this stuff. It's
there's a lot
go
of
ahead.
people who can't do it. I mean, that's why
Yeah.
I always hear this argument, like like people have issues with Comicsgate or whatever, and like, oh, I can't do, or like they're taking away, I don't know, not members, but patrons or whatever, and it's just like you can go do this, you can go have a channel, but the thing is they can't. That's they can't they can't talk, they can't they don't have anything interesting. They literally don't have a thought in their head that hasn't been put there by whatever company they work for. And so it really does aggravate them that they're like, well, I can't believe that these guys are doing it. I mean, I get a lot of bullshit, because like I was primarily left almost my whole life. And then, when they started burning down cities, I'm like, I'm out. I don't know what the fuck this is all about.
You don't say. Yeah.
I was like, you guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then you'd get in these arguments. Like there's this great meme that everyone's seen where it's like the guy pushes you to be on the other side. And then they're like, why did you leave? It's like, because you pushed me over here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just how I feel about it. And
I like that. What's that quote from? I don't know if it's a country song or if it's what song it was, but I heard this lyric and I thought it was great. And it was, what is it? Don't push me away and wonder where I went.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, listen, when I was growing up in Tennessee, I tell a story all the time. I had to have somebody sit down and explain to me when there was like a reasonably active Klan presence where I lived, why the ACLU, I can't even believe this is a thing now, like that was ever the case, because I think it was so principled at the time, would defend the right of the KKK to peaceably march. I was like, I don't understand this. And people spent so much time, this is the place sorry, gotta put this on screen. God dang it, Michael. This is where I come to talk race, Sean. It's my safe. God bless him. I love that man. But it was one of those things. Oh, cool. Jay Lee's doing some writing at the moment. So, but I look at this stuff and I go, they would explain to me, and it really gave me, as crazy as this may sound, it really gave me an appreciation and a respect for why free speech was so important. People actually had to take time to explain that to me. And that was sort of like the way that you defined, quote unquote, at the time, liberalism. And to see people go in what I always jokingly said, I did this, I wrote this somewhere in an art school I worked at, go from Je suis Charlie to what I refer to as Je suis fragile was pretty insane to watch. These people who were like all free speech 5 seconds earlier, and then were policing. God, the hypocrisy of that was so embarrassing to watch. I was just like,
that's a good word. It's embarrassing. And you get in these back and forths with people. And I remember, especially after the insurrection, I saw there was so many people who were like, oh, this is, clearly a coup. And like the day of, January 6th or January 7th. And, they were already like hanging out, people to dry and pointing fingers. And they were like, well, I can't believe you don't agree with any of this. And I'm like, there hasn't even been there's been nothing. There's been no, formal inquiry. They haven't discovered anything. It's all just the news. It's all hearsay. I was like, and nothing actually really happened. I was just like stunned by it. I was like, you just gotta say that you gotta throw these people under the bus. You have no idea what's happened. I don't know. And I was like, shouldn't you wait for there to be some type of hearing? Blocked.
Yeah, I think that I believe very strongly in civil liberties. I just don't believe in yours, Camel.
Yeah, right. Well, that's
wrong?
I mean, you hear these arguments.
I should be presumed innocent. I really just don't feel like you should be.
Yeah, lock them up. Fucking. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. There's something in the water the last couple of years. it'll be talked about in history for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
And it's
what
truly
happens.
a miraculous, not a good miraculous, but it's stunning. I
Oh,
mean, it's like,
it's the simplest thing. Listen, it's being in education. I tell people this all the time. I can explain it to you so easily. You go back to Sir Ken Robinson, whose lecture you may have very well been subjected to, on how schools kill creativity. The whole idea of the blank slate theory of parenting reemerging as it did in the 60s or 50s or 60s, I think it was, and raising a generation of kids who they thought if we eliminate bullying and hardship from these kids' lives, they're going to be confident and strong, because I'm assuming that that's the reason why I'm not confident. And when you remove those things, people don't learn they can overcome things, and they actually become tyrannical bullies because they need control over everything in order to feel good. And so it was amazing to watch as that generation came up, who it was kind of like, you tell me how you need to be. Like, I can't discipline you. I can't tell you anything. I can't give you any responsibilities. Reverse parenting, for lack of a better way of putting it. And these kids became so violent and angry, having been accommodated. It is the weirdest phenomenon ever when you meet, this amazing Canadian Indian comedian, Russell Peters, who has a beautiful comedy bit about strict Indian parents. That has one of my favorite punchlines in it, when he comes home after hanging out with his friend Ryan's house, and he goes, his dad goes, "Russell, go and clean your room." And he goes, "Fuck you, Dad." And he goes, "What did you say to me? Do I look like Ryan's mom?" It always just freaking kills me. But he was talking about how this kid, he grew up with Ryan, who's, could do whatever he wanted, but was the angriest kid in the world and hated his parents. And that's kind of what it is, man. It's like these guys, it's probably the communists. Well, they got that too. But if you believe that if you are raised to believe you're a blank slate and you can be anything you want to be, and that's gone very far, of how many different things you can be, all you have for why you're not happy or successful is either how you were raised or society. You have no personal responsibility. So of course you want to burn it down, because you can't take any accountability, man.
It's an interesting thought, because you think about, like, you could grow up to be anything you want to be, and now that's changed to you could grow up to be anything you want to be. And like, yeah. But at what point is it going to be like we have to accommodate people who are going to say, "Well, I always wanted to be a Ghostbuster." Like, I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. It's like, well, his career says Ninja Turtle, guys. So, I mean, I guess that's what he is.
Well, what is it? I remember heard Matthew McConaughey say this quote. I wish I could do his voice, but I can't. But he said, it's this old, quote, which is, "Too many choices will make tyrants of us all." And I think it's a very, accurate quote for what's going on. If kids at a young age, and there's so much research into this, crave structure and consistency, they are not, a 12-year-old isn't half a 24-year-old. Their concerns are very simple, and they need to understand things. And their sense of security is very much tied not to how much they can control their environment, but how much they can learn how to regulate their emotions in different environments. And when you have that fallacy of control, that my emotions, everything else that's external is responsible for why I feel the way I do, you have to control your environment. And so they're very authoritarian because they hate how insecure and frightened they are.
There's a lot of people who don't grow up knowing that they can't control things. In fact, it actually takes a lot of hardship and almost a real bottoming out, before you can get to that point. Because I mean, that even happened to me, where I was just like, I don't understand why I can't get these things lined up. And then I had someone sat me down. They're like, because you can't control the world. Everyone, like, at a certain point in their life, they think like, if I'm smart enough or clever enough, I could be this Machiavellian, whatever. It's like, no, actually not really. You have to learn to realize that that's not the case. And like, if you're a well-to-do person who is used to getting what they want, just by screaming and shouting, that's not a lesson you're going to learn anytime soon. If you're a really pretty girl who opens doors with smiles, that's not a lesson you're going to learn anytime soon. And now, because of, like you were saying, like this participation award generation, like that's all of them. They all are just like, well, I can do that, right? That's not, I won't get in trouble for this.
And this is the crazy thing about it too. This is the other thing that people don't talk about. If you are told that you're intellectual or whatever, there's no other aspect of you that is limited based on just your biology in terms of like what you're able to do, then everything you don't accomplish that you know that you believe is status important to do is a personal failing in terms of it's because you didn't do it when you could. And what's great about growing up with limitations, like, I always joked with my wife because she's like the classic A student. When you have like the way that someone who has dyslexia and isn't good at school feels about a C is something that an A student will never feel when they get an A. You know what I mean? When you thought you were going to fail the test and you get a C, you're like, I'm good. Like everything's awesome. An A student gets an A minus and they're like, where did I go wrong? Like there's a joy that comes from, the 8th time you've asked, girls out and that you finally get a yes versus the when everybody says yes and you get your first no. You just don't know how to deal with it. It's like a foreign concept, It's just, I'm always amazed.
I knew a girl. I'll just show you guys actually where I am. So like this is what I call the hatch. And so this is what I'm doing. This is like the over ink. This is what it was when I started.
Nice.
And now I'm putting the inks in. So just sort of before and after.
Cool.
But I knew a girl in high school. And, everyone liked her. And she always had boyfriends, this and that. And, she eventually got dumped. She got dumped by some dude when, I don't even know, like we were definitely out of college at that point. And she had to go on Prozac. She couldn't deal with it. She couldn't deal with the fact that, like, suddenly there was someone out there who, like, didn't like her. And she married the next guy.
Wow.
That was it. It was like she just needed that one issue in her life.
I was that guy. No, sorry. It would have been great if I could have tied that all perfectly.
Yeah,
together.
I mean, no, it's not my wife.
No. God. Keep Camel's wife's name.
Yeah.
No,
my wife's much younger than I am.
There you go. Mine is 6 months younger than me, and she is probably the youngest in relationship to me that a girl I've ever dated. When I was in high school, I was like 16, and I was dating a girl who was 19, I think, at that point. Holy shit, it was great. Yeah, it was one of those things. As Mike Tyson would say, that could happen. But I grew up with speaking of my favorite philosophers, with the Mike Tyson quote, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." And that
is that a real quote? That's hilarious.
Yes, that's a real quote. And it's one of those, because I remember someone said, yeah, there's a rumor you had a quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. He goes, no, it was punched in the mouth. Like it was one of those great corrections. Yeah. And his mentor, Customato, his trainer, has another quote I love, which is, discipline is doing something that you hate as if you love it. And I remember thinking, wow. Oh, yeah. So one of my groomsmen in the chat, who's now going by the groomsman to conceal his identity, is giving you my high school girlfriend's nickname. Her name was Jan, and that was her nickname. He never forgot that story, I guess. There you have it, kids. Yeah. Because she was one of the gals who was a little older than me, dare I say. Bless her heart. If you're out there, I hope you're well.
I don't.
Yeah, I know. See, that was
me. Every girl who rejected me in college and high school. I hope you're fucking knocked up and single.
Well, yeah.
I hope all the worst things happen to you. Yeah. I don't care.
He's a peacemaker, folks.
Yeah. No.
Let me see here. That was sorry, Andy. That was the other day. I had to taking account. My God, I missed some chat happening there. It stayed late. A nice 5 a.m. Ooh, doing extra credit on work. Oh my gosh, it's got an 82%. Felt better. Yeah. Hey man, listen. Any port in a storm. Let me see here. Michael Bancroft. Ignorance of evil is its greatest strength. Gosh, this is the problem is when you miss the chat. Like there's something like I believe it was Themistocles who said, and you go, shit, where did that start? Yeah, I mean that's absolutely. It is a good quote, man. Discipline is a major factor in I think anything all of us do. There's if you want to know why Comicsgate has the success it does, or why the YouTube channels have the success they do, and anybody in here who isn't subscribed, please subscribe. We appreciate it. It is 4:25 in the morning. My wife is going to be getting up for work in about an hour and a half where I'm at, and I am still working. And it's still streaming.
Are you on the East Coast?
Yep, I'm on the East Coast, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're in the. Oh no, I won't get into it. You're on a stream. Some weirdo shows up at your house, dressed as a character from Hail Salad. That's the last thing you need, man. It's the last thing. And by the way, when I do that, I hope you won't judge me.
I would do it just for my wife to be like, God damn it.
Yeah, let's get off of these personal questions. But Camel, what are you wearing? No.
Can
you describe what you?
Go ahead. I used to do a podcast with a bunch of dudes, and it was pretty well known. Like people all over the world would watch it. And so I was in the airport with my wife, and a dude just like was like, "Hey, are you Will Valley?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I watch you on this stream," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And he goes, and he's like, "You want to take a pic and everything?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And he goes, "Man, I've never met a celebrity before," and my wife got so he was so pissed. It's like, God damn it! Don't tell him that.
I have to live with this man.
Yeah,
he can't be.
I was like, do you realize he's going to tell this story at dinner with my parents for the next 35 years?
There you go.
Yeah,
that's right.
I haven't stopped since.
You don't have. Listen, it's your truth.
Yeah, that never happened.
Hashtag streaming my best life. It's like. Yeah, man, it's a weird thing to me anyway to think about, because it's strange to think about the people who are watching this stuff. Sean's planning his furry introduction to Camel Moon. Yeah, I am, absolutely. Yeah, and hey, what's up, Skip Edwards? Art, great to see you, man. I have to tell you, and thank you for getting that in the chat. You guys are awesome. Nosfero, guys, check it out. It's the shit. And if you missed Hail Salad, you slept on Hail Salad, you can blame Indiegogo for your troubles.
Yeah, you can blame anyone you want, really. I don't care.
Don't blame me. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Camel's a saint. People need to hashtag.
Oh, I like that. Saint Camel.
That's exactly right. Absolutely, man. That's what we're here to do. But no, it's you see how hard people work, and I like to be around people who are driven and working hard. It's so funny when you think about, the folks that back our books, and a lot of them are going to work and they're doing things while they're listening to the streams. Like everybody, the one thing I would say about Comicsgate is as much as fun as we have, as much, as we poke fun and things, everybody I know is so industrious and hardworking, because that's where the money comes from, shockingly, to buy back books and make things, it's crazy. Oh, Michael Bancroft has Celebrity Moon. So there you go. That's
I already put Saint Moon, but he doesn't have our names up. So.
Oh man, I feel bad about this now.
It's
Hang
okay.
on a second.
Next time.
It's inexcusable. It's it's the kind of thing that just makes it all less appealing. So what do I have to do here? Minimal classic. Look at this. This is wild. Oh, which one is that? All right. Well, we'll figure this out one of these days, folks. I'm not long for this world, so hopefully I'll figure it out.
You go up. You go to the top.
Oh wait, there it is. No, we got it. Saint Camel.
There you go. Saint Moon. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. See?
I can dig it.
Yeah, we gotta have. It's all about fun. I'm at work right now. See, there you go, Skip Edwards Art. You're welcome, Sean. Let me tell you something. Tip of the hat to you, my friend. I appreciate you, and I know you guys are working hard.
Mike says, imagine the first celeb you meet is Will Valley. It's all downhill after that.
Yeah, well, seriously, it's off a cliff.
Yeah. You either meet Tom Cruise first or you meet Will Valley first. So
That's exactly right. And Will Valley is the person you want to meet out of all of those. That's the way it is.
dig it.
You
I
know?
got to make a saint emoji now in my chat.
You do. You got to do something like that. Let me see here. Michael Bancroft. Yo, it's Skip Edwards. Michael Bancroft. The cackle will echo in your ears forever, says John. The groomsman, Sean, you need to do a whole stream with you fumbling around with technology. I'm pretty sure I've done that stream, brother.
We've all done that stream.
We've all done that stream, exactly, where I just look at things and I'm going, the hell with it. One of my favorite moments in any movie is in that movie, God, one of my wife's favorite movies, Grand Budapest Hotel, where a guy goes, I'd like to think that in our own way we bring... Oh, fuck it.
Fucked it up that fast, huh? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. He barely makes it. He's about to say something profound, and he's like, I can't do it. It's not worth it. You really missed out, Sean. Camel Moon was awesome before he got popular. Yeah, he made cartoons. Now he talks instead. Well, listen, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
I mean, the cartoons are coming back. Y'all can relax.
Yeah.
It's going to be new cartoons. It's going to be new campaigns.
The amount of pressure, they put you under. I hear this from a lot of celebrities and saints as well. That it's, look, guys, don't think it's feet of clay. He's working miracles many places.
People don't
That's
know.
the way it is.
They don't know the struggle. Struggle Moon.
Yeah, struggle moon. Yep, that's right. This is a struggle session.
Yeah.
Which is what I refer to getting out of bed in the morning. It's a struggle session. Let's see here. Bogan World. Let's see. I've been watching Camel for the last few years now. If I meet him, I'm not asking for a pic, not unless he has those gold shoes on anyway.
Oh, wow. I could probably make that happen.
Movie. Yeah, I love Grand Budapest Hotel is really an outstanding production art-wise. It's beautiful and writing's great. Everybody acts. I could watch Jeff Goldblum in just about anything at this point, and he's great in that. The groomsman could be long. I mean, really long video of all the Boomerang Shanth moments. Yeah, that would be something. Oh gosh, Shanth and Jetty Art. Before I bow out, what do you think of Miller's Crossing? Is one of my favorite movies of all time. My really good friend, who's a creator of a very popular animated show, who I don't want to be canceled, is and that was our movie in college. We watched that all the time. We'd look at each other all the time and do the John Polito. Ethics. I'm talking about ethics. It's just one of those.
I've never seen it.
Oh, Miller's Crossing is in my opinion, is my favorite. Ooh, that's tough to say. Yeah, it's the dearest Coen Brothers movie to me. It's a great flick, and it's a period piece. Everybody in it's outstanding. It's great. Yeah. Bogan World says, "Kiss my shoes?" ? For that gold shoe.
The scene where John Turturro's gonna get killed in the woods.
Yes, that's the one. Gets taken out to Miller's Crossing to get shot. He's like, "Look to your heart, Tommy."
Did they shoot him?
No, not them. No, actually, no. They don't shoot him at all. No. Yeah, everybody gets shot later. It's a great flick. Camel's still resting his elbow dangerously close to the controlled. Oh, jeez, don't say control.
Oh yeah, don't say that.
Don't. Yeah, that's one of those things. Danger is his middle name. I just want to say this too, guys. There's an expression that when you're in a loving marriage with a fellow artist / graphic designer working on a digital project. The face of, oh shit, I didn't save when it crashes. That is a special moment in everybody's life when you realize, I love when my computer crashes and I'm just not thinking, I'm tired, I get too many things going on, and I look up to see what I'd save the file as, and it says Untitled 1. And I go, it's all gone.
We're like, that can't be. Because, see, for everyone, that's not the first go. The first is is almost like a concern, but a let's figure this out. Not worried just yet. No, let's be cautious.
The stages of grief. Do you mean?
Yeah, let me think this through. It's the stages of grief, and then it's
denial.
Well, that's not good.
Bargaining,
Hold on.
bargaining is in there.
Hold on, yeah. If I could probably work it out if I saved it somewhere else. Let me just make no. That's wait a minute.
That's not possible. Yeah,
That's not possible.
absolutely, man. Yeah, it's one of those things to where I'm telling you, man. I like then there's for me the anger phase is when I look at the laptop and then think about throwing it in a bathtub of water. It's like I just want to kill it dead. Yeah, Gabriel Byrne is great in Miller's Crossing. Absolutely, the groomsman. No. My man better not give them. Yeah, are you giving me the hi hat? Yeah, I love that sequence. And also John Polito leaving the room with the bestest ever. He goes, "Yes, fancy pants, always." It's just,
Like,
yeah, and I want to say this again. Yeah, if you need to take care of that, you can, man.
Yeah, I'll be like 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm like, should I just let him keep talking or?
No, you go do that. No, it's like,
Okay,
there's no.
I'll be
It's
right
like
back.
Outback Steakhouse. There's no rules, just right. So I want to just say this. Make sure I say this, guys, and anybody in the chat who doesn't know. Congratulations again for the birth of your grandson there. Tell your daughter that everybody here in CG says congratulations, man. Yeah, great stuff, man. I'm glad to hear about it. If we can get some congrats in the chat there, that was great news to share, and happy to be here with it. Sounds like it's dinner time. Peace all. Hey, listen, Michael, thanks for being in here, brother. You are one of our MVPs of Comicsgate. Certainly in the last year, you've been just kicking butt, and I can't wait for Painted Death to launch, the Lucent to Painted Death. It's going to be great. Skip Edwards, Struggle Moon. No, I'm not. Skip, no, but Skip's at work, so we gotta, take a sip of coffee for you, man. I was gonna say it's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere, but it literally is almost 5 o'clock here. The best Coen Brothers movie, that's impossible for me to answer. I would agree with that. I love the Coen Brothers. They have movies that are, all different flavors, so to speak, of amazingness. Like I love Raising Arizona. I love Burn After Reading. I love No Country for Old Men. I think it is such a beautifully bleak, intense flick. Of course, I love Anton Sugar as a character. Let's see here. John says, see you, Michael Bancroft, heading off for dinner. Andy Contreras, stay blessed and keep on winning, my friend. There you have it, man. Jay Lee, okay, Sean, have to crash, work tomorrow, but did write 3,800 worst day. Excellent. And I've got a copy of your book, The Steins, guys. Check out the Stein series, written by Jay Lee. Heck of an author. And thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. John here in the chat. Dan Plagle saying the Schmada kid. Yeah, absolutely, man. That was amazing. Everybody in that. Sometimes and the Coen brothers are masters at this. You get a collection of actors together, and they just all play off of each other, and they create these amazing characters. John Turturro has definitely left his mark of amazing characters in Coen brothers films, not least of which in The Big Lebowski. Mighty Geek Studios, what's up? What's new, everyone? I don't know, but I can tell you I'm what's old at this point. John, hello. Dan, Mighty Geek Studios, hello. Everybody hit the like button, by the way. Let us know we want to see you. Let me know that you want to see more Camel Moon, Saint Camel Moon. That's the main thing. That's what it's all about.
Do me a favor, everyone in the chat. Go sub to my channel.
Yes.
I just, no, and not like I'm trying to get subs, although I am. I'm genuinely curious if I'm being, no, I am genuinely curious if I'm being throttled, because I've been at 2930 for 6 months. And every time I get new subs, they go away immediately. So I've tried to talk with YouTube about it, and they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about? We don't do that." I was like, "Well, something's happening." So if you are not a member, just if you hit sub, I would love to see if the count would rise. I feel there's got to be at least 5 people here who are not subbed.
Okay. All right. Let me talk about this for a second, because this is something I hate to do on a show, but I gotta say it here just so everyone remembers. All of the times I have told you guys to unsubscribe to Camel's channel, I want to rescind that now and tell you to disregard that directive and go over there and sub so we can figure out what the hell's going on. And while you're at it, If anybody can
Thanks.
tell me why the great Eric Weathers, by the way, is not being monetized, I'd love us to look into that too. What I told him today is one, I want us to be launching a new initiative on a CG team, which is the Battle Brick Road to 100K, because he's so close. I want to see that happen, and he's such a good dude. But I want to figure out why the heck they're not monetizing him, and the only way I can think to do it is to just keep making the channel get bigger and bigger and bigger until they have no choice but to think about making money off of it. So I'm just gonna have to figure that one out.
Andy Contreras says, "What is your YouTube name?" It's just Camel Moon.
Oh wait, are you Camel? Where the heck are you? Hang on a second. Hang on. This is all pointless. Where are we? Okay. Here I am now, streaming, looking at myself, streaming to myself.
Skip Edwards says, Camel is the worst, though. He started calling me Simp Edwards, and it stuck.
I thought that was a positive. Camel, do me a favor. Can you type something in the chat for me?
Okay.
Just type hi, whatever. I'm going to make you a mod to make my life easier. There we go. It should come through in a sec. There we go. All righty. Let's see here. Add moderator. Good to go, kiddo. Now I just dropped that link in the chat, and you should be good to go.
Oh, yeah. All right. So let me see if I can pull up my page. There we go.
Now you get to Boomer a little bit.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're fast, man. It's the wrenching. Yeah, it is. Yeah, as opposed to my shoulder, which is just the wrenching of that. Jeez. Let me see.
Yeah, tell me how that works out. Let's see. I'm going to go now to my dashboard. And let's see what we got. Nothing. Well, we were at, it went down. We went
down.
To 29.
Hold on a second here.
Earlier tonight, and now we're at 29:30. So maybe one person subbed.
Did you post? Wait, did you post the link in the chat?
Just did it. Just did it right now.
Oh, you just did. What? Hold on a second here. Oh wait, did you hit return on it? That's not coming up.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh shit! Hang on.
I used it myself actually.
Oh, you did. Hold on a second here. All right, hang on a second.
Yeah, that's the other thing, Andy. If I ever come back on this show, well, I mean, it didn't come out right. if we run into each other again, let me know if you see the notifications, because I get a lot of people telling me they don't know when the show is up or anything, and I'm like, I have no idea why.
I could not tell you. You know,
no, nobody knows, and the people who do know, or at least the ones that tell me they know, they're like, yeah, you're just being throttled. It's just YouTube because it's which is funny because they're you know, I don't talk about new video games. I don't talk about, you know, Will Smith. And so, you know, what we talk about is a little more controversial or risque, especially on Camel Nights. And so it's throttled. They're just like, no, we're not going to allow you to succeed any further than you've already gotten. So,
well, don't you think it's more fair if we redistribute your success to smaller channels? Sorry. Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? This is the thing, right? And this is the thing that started pissing me off about Instagram and all those places. I went on to Instagram and just started posting my artwork. Didn't think anything about it. It was a way for me to actually, you know, show my work to friends who were, you know, on other coasts. And I got up to something like no tricks, no nothing, just the artwork up to 30,000. And then Facebook bought them. And all of a sudden, all of my posts, it was like a hand on the scale all of a sudden. No one was seeing them, all that crap that they start doing when they take over things. And I went, this is ridiculous. This was the one place where it was, you know, it was designed so that if you followed somebody, you had to see their stuff. You couldn't hide their feed. So you would leave. It was actually diagnostic. You could figure out what was going on. So they basically removed the value of it. I don't mind being in any situation that's fair, because I use that information, that data, to tell me what I'm doing, like any, you know, sane person would do. And once it loses that, you know, it really makes it a pointless endeavor. And I hope Facebook is, I hope YouTube is, you know, gets its head out of its ass when it comes to things like that, because other platforms will come along. It's a matter of time. You know,
I mean, right now, the other option I've had a lot of people tell me about is Odyssey.
Yeah.
Problem with Odyssey is like, yeah, I can do backups to it, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I don't really care about backups. I care about like nurturing the channel that I've grown. And
Yes.
I can't do that in Odyssey. I mean, I could. Problem is like their version of super chats is all through crypto. So I'm like, okay, all right. So what now? People have to transfer wallet funds to use fucking magic points or whatever. I'm like, no, it's ridiculous. So until that gets rectified, until there is actually a YouTube competitor that's, you know, working with members and actual currency, it's going to be kind of a.
I'm just waiting for Elon Musk to tweet out, do you think that YouTube is fair?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Thoughts?
he'll get probably a better response. I mean, there's so many YouTube creators that are throttled, and it's like it's aggravating because there really needs to be like some type of class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because it's
this
like,
is
you
why
know,
your channel's getting throttled, Camel.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Because I say this shit and they're like, hey, bye, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's
go ahead.
This is the thing about it, right? Is that in a sane world, you know, in a sane, you know, economic world, you would have people. Oh yeah, the man who wasn't there is great, Dan. Love it. Black and white, beautiful. Billy Bob Thornton gets it done. This is the thing for me when I'm looking at this stuff is that it actually helps you to understand what's going on in the market if it's merit based. That's the thing I love about CG. It's, you know, you go out there and you kind of, the Diaz brothers are doing a pinup book, and that is one of the things I was working on. Is that it's you're able to understand what's going on, and it's great for them and their business model. And the problem is it's almost like, and YouTube is doing better than some, but when I see people using these completely outdated business models, like they're trying to be cable television or they're trying to do it all on advertisers' money, I go, you guys actually have a pretty damn good revenue stream with advertisers buying stuff on channels. You're just trying to direct where they buy that advertising and put your hand on the scale. But there's really no reason for you to cater to these big companies that are just dying giants anyway. It's such a weird thing to go all in on. You know, it's I don't know, man. It's like the horse is out of the barn.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that this has been a topic of conversation in YouTube for the better part of 5 years. There's a lot of big time YouTubers that were leaving, you know, because like content throttling is not new, but content throttling to the point where it's like a small creator I'm not talking about flat earth, you know, like like when they came after like Stefan Molyneux, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, that was a big deal because it was like, oh wow, so like he's not even allowed to talk, and they took down Alex Jones stuff, and there were a couple other like guys who had millions of subs, and like, yeah, you're gone now, and it was like, so I guess there's no freedom to speech anymore. You know, and that was like that was the beginning. That was the canary in the coal mine. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Like you look at Ethan's channel, he's been 145,000 subs for a year. I don't buy that. Or Zach has been at 109,000 subs for 4 years. I don't buy that. I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely nuts. Like just general like basic growth of any company in the world, like is going to show over time the smallest increment of upward mobility. And there's
you kind of lost me there because I think that both of their channels subscribers should be redistributed to my channel. Never mind, forget it.
I agree.
I don't know where I was going with that, but you know, no, I mean, listen. Again, it is I hate this term has been way used to just tedious effect by a certain group of people, but it is got to find a better way of putting it. Well, this is the best way we've got. Gaslighting. It's like, you know, what is it, that quote? Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? It's like, good Lord. You know, it's like, it's obvious to us, you know, it's a very creepy thing to argue with people about facts that are staring you both in the face and have them tell you that those facts aren't there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you even
you're crazy.
do? Yeah, what do you even like? There's nothing you can do. You just have you right. You just have to sit there and just go, okay.
Yeah, fuck
Like,
me. Yeah.
well, and frankly, Phil is up. Phil is awake. As he, I mean, I'm assuming he's getting up for work at this point. I can't believe if he's still up. I mean, he's in Central, so maybe he is. But this is the thing for me, right? It started with me. Not to go back to this, but sometimes you got to punish Fabio. It's good to see you, my friend. Make sure you're subscribed, man. It's important. You have to make short trending videos. I'm going to talk. It's all this week's going to be all talking about. I'm going to call it. It's the Will Smith, Chris Rock, day late and $1 short commentary. That's what I'm going to be doing this week. Zayd, he was drawn. Phil was drawn. Nice. He's still up. But this is the thing for me, man. Is it's like it starts in art school. And I remember the movie Art School Confidential really was fantastic for the critique sequence, where you get in. For me, I got into art school when I was, I guess I got into RISD when I was 17 years old. I had never even taken art classes. I was just, no, it's not true. I had taken a RISD pre-college thing, and that's where my entire portfolio came from. And I'll never forget, like, going into, like, they were like, oh, you're amazing. Your skills are so great. Then you get there. And it's all about how representational artwork is a problem. You can't do this and that. And it's almost the most surreal thing because everyone knows you are aware that people know you have skill and you're really good, like when you're accurate. But everyone is pretending like do you look at it? Do you see why this stuff is cold or dead? It's like, well, there's a way to make it lifelike. It just requires more skill than you have as my teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to master it to make it good. And, the idea of you have to pare everything down, and that's the only definition of quality, is absurd. You can make things more detailed and have it be quality. It's just a different kind of level of complexity. And I always felt like that was the hand on the scale thing. And I'd always say to people, I'm okay with the stuff you're doing. Why do you have to hate what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like, it was so bizarre, and then, they would show all these alumni who did all the kind of work they discouraged as examples to get students to come there, tell them the opposite when they arrive.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy, man. It's so bizarre the way that stuff works. And I think, when I look at things like YouTube or Instagram, it's like, listen, I think that there's a place for beauty, there's a place for comedy, there's a place for whatever. But if you're going to put your hand on the scale and say, you're the funniest comic, but I want this type of person's humor to be more successful and funny.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all it is. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And
it's BS too, because they have these videos like how to make sure you get the best YouTube algorithm. And it's like, I did all that. I did that. Make sure you have high production value. All right, check. I'm not on a cell phone, and not for nothing, I'm one of the only StreamYard people I know who does like set-based overlays. So what else you got? I do animated and graphic intros. Like there's actually like segments. Like a lot of people don't even do segments, and so it's like that's the issue. That's not the issue. So it's
are you
like
trying to passive aggressively explain to me why my channel isn't doing better? No, go ahead.
No. I mean, you do
I'm teasing. Go ahead, Cam. I'm kidding.
Like, you want to do a draw stream, do a draw stream. But like, there's a lot of people who do streams, and they're like, they're not about anything. They're just people talking.
I've put in my time. I have a MySpace. I've recently set up an email, and
that's it. Here's like my mom starting a business.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I need a Facebook. Did I make a Facebook? Why?
Oh my!
You're gonna get a lot of likes to your Facebook.
Yeah. Do you want people to cancel you for some offhanded comment?
You want them to find you and be like, that's
I hope to God she's not involved in the knitting industry, because that's where they actually try to kill people for expressing the wrong thought. Well, when all this stuff was going on with CG and all that stuff, and my wife was watching me, I said, how do I word this? I was trying to make, I don't know if you've ever tried to make a point in your marriage. I don't advise that you do, but I was trying to make a point. And I said, offhandedly, I said, look, you're in a hobby like knitting, and this stuff could come to your hobby. And she looked at me and she goes, comics, I love you, sweetheart, but comics is a completely different thing than knitting. This is not going to come to knitting. Knitting is just a bunch of people hanging out with sticks and fiber and making things. And I said, you never know. Now, I never would have wished for that to have happened because it was an absurd example. And sure enough, they canceled two of the most prominent or made a damn fine push to cancel. They canceled several people and then tried to destroy the livelihoods of two of her favorite people in that industry, whatever it is. That industry, I think, is the best way because it was the community people that were destroying the industry people. And it had always been such an amazing, welcoming place. And of course, they did what they always do. They came in and tried to convince everybody that was not the case. And when she saw it happening there, she finally got that it wasn't just a bunch of crazy comic book nerds, conspiracy, in conspiracy theory land talking about this shit, that it would come everywhere. Wherever something established had status or popularity, these people who live for status would come in and use whatever means they could to cut the legs out from under the most successful people. And that's what it is. And, when I don't think resentment is healthy. And when I'm resenting you and the success of your channel, I'm working on it, Camel. It's the way it is. We can't all be saints is what I'm saying. First they came for the knitters. John, you win. That's what and I did nothing. Then they came for a Comics Gate. No, it was bizarre, and I did not speak because I was not a knitter. Says Eric. I want you all to know that it is 5 almost in the morning here, and usually, Eric, that wouldn't level me, but we are where we are at this hour. Everyone knows that the knitting community is a haven for whites. Like, that's the funniest thing about it too, because it's like, and I know I've said this before, but when I was younger, and I believe it's been this way in comics since before the sort of hipster posers came into this shit, if I met somebody who collected comics, I was so elated to find somebody who liked this crazy hobby I liked. The last thing I was thinking of what metrics I could exclude them with. Beggars can't be choosers, for the love of God.
That's a good point. Because I do remember growing up, and I mean, there were 3 kids that like comics. Me, my best friend, and like a kid that I saw in summer camp. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was just like that was it. And the kid it wasn't really a summer camp. It was like the boys club. But like that kid, he he liked he liked shit I would never read. Like I was not into like X Factor. I liked X-Men. But X Factor, I was like, I don't know what that is. You sound you're a little too out there for me, Or they'd get like books that I just was like, like Task Force, and I was like, whatever, I don't care. But like, but that was it. That was it. There was no like, you were happy just to meet anyone who like you could even briefly talk about this stuff with.
Yeah, man. You were thrilled. You were thrilled to find people who were passionate about this crazy thing that, you were passionate about. And it's like I don't understand. I think the way that this stuff is put out there, I think what they mean when they say it's exclusionary is people expect you to actually know what the hobby is that you're claiming to be a fan of. That's really all it is. And they can't stand that because to them, the idea is, or the belief is that, it's offensive when someone says, I'm a huge Superman fan. And you say, oh, really? Have you, what do you think about this? And they're like going, stop quizzing me. You're excluding me. And it's like, no, you're supposed to care about this. Like when someone says they like boxing and they talk to me and I'm like a massive boxing fan, I don't need them to like boxing, but if they're going to claim they like boxing, I'm going to like want to have a conversation about it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's where the normies come in.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, it's a controversial opinion.
There we have it.
But I think that like the Dark Knight movie was the worst thing to ever happen to comic books.
Oh wow,
because
that is.
it made the whole industry normie based, and suddenly anyone out there
Oh yeah,
who
that
had
makes
the slightest inkling or interest in comics, they'd go out and buy their 12th reprint hardcover of The Dark Knight Returns, and suddenly they were like some big Bat fan. And it's like, you don't know anything. And then now, because it was their new interest, they were like, the cons started to shift, and then the movies started to shift, and it became very audience focused on like just trying to make people happy. And like you saw a lot of that in the Marvel movies. And it was like, okay, so now it was almost like what happened with Apple once the iPod came out. So like before that, in the 2000s and 90s, like Apple was very much like for people making certain things on the computer, whether it was art or music or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then once the iPod came out, it was like, oh, now we need to like shift focus and like, kind of cater to certain audience. And then it went, full on once they introduced the iPad and the iPhone. And it was like the desktops, people might not know this, but like they had certain desktops that weren't upgraded for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, not for nothing, dude, but I got you here, me and millions of people like me. And now we're just tossed aside so you can make fucking iPhones. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of like annoyance in, the Apple community and the comic community that were like, it sounded great initially. Like, oh, wow, the comic books are finally getting to that point. And it's like, no, now they're just going to dumb it down and they're going to make, normie garbage, and they're going to repurpose stuff because now we have this new audience that thinks that The Dark Knight is the greatest movie ever made. So we'll just retell that story 100 times. It was real,
what's interesting is I actually think, and I don't know what time it was around, and maybe it was around that time. I think things, and you're clearly coming at this, and I totally get this, but you're coming at this as a Batman fan. And I have a lot of friends who are huge Batman fans, and I was a fan of Batman, but I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan. So I can't track exactly what year it was. You might very well be right, but I remember when San Diego Comic-Con was about celebrities coming there to pitch their new movie, and it wasn't anymore about getting to meet Mobius and Dave Stevens sitting in the corner, it wasn't about comic book creators. It was about comic book properties. And there were celebrity panels and all that stuff. Whereas there used to be panels where you were talking to comic book artists. It stopped being the mission statement for Comic-Con, which was to advance or further or get the word out there, because I guess they were a nonprofit, which is the biggest. Yeah, I can't even get into
nonsense.
That. Nonsense. When colleges say they're nonprofit and then they get a famous architect to build a $12 million hallway, fuck yourselves. You're about as non-profit as fucking Trump Tower. It's like, let's be honest. I've always said that these people, the biggest problem that I think a lot of these people have with people like Trump, but anyone else, is that they see themselves clearly reflected in the mirror and they don't like what they see, or they see what they wish they were, one or the other. But it's so bizarre. But the thing about it is that we used to go to comic conventions and it wasn't 90% cosplayers. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was people, like, there were people. I remember going to Dragon Con. You would see a couple of people here and there. But at a certain point, it stopped being about the stories and started being about people's fanfic and living out their fanfic. And that was basically when canon died, for me. It was like when you hear people talking about, their original character, and what they really mean is it's a character that's based in a world they don't own the copyright to. We've kind of lost what that stuff means. And I think that there was an objective reality that Batman is this, and at a certain point it became your subjective interpretation of Batman is just as valid as the canonical history of this character.
Yeah.
And that happened with the movies a little bit. Drip, 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 where fans were going, that's not what Batman would do. And then it turned into just a tsunami of people putting that stuff out there. Is Camel left-handed, people are saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. I always tell this. My favorite left-handed artist is Manny Pacquiao. However, outside of the Filipino slugger, Todd McFarlane, Dave Stevens are two of my favorite artists. And I remember thinking, because I have dyslexia, and it was a mirror image to me going, wow, they draw with the same hand I do. So I looked at the screen. So yeah, Dave Stevens and Todd McFarlane, two of my favorite artists that are well represented behind me over here on the wall. Both left-handers. Amazing stuff. So there you go. Perth Comics.
A lot of people are left-handers. Jerry Seinfeld's a left-hander.
Yep. Perth Comics. I'm a Southpaw. Hail to the Southpaws out there. Even though he fought in a orthodox stance, De La Hoya is a Southpaw. He just fought in conventional stance, so his left hook was closer to you, which is weird. His power hand was anyway. John, I would say Irene and Anna would probably pull out some yet unknown mutant power. There you go. Let's see here. Perth Comics, I have mutant power. Irene is taller than Anna, but both are hard as nails. So they're talking about the fight that people are trying to get going. Got to head off. Eric Grant, take care. Bye, my friend. Tip of the hat to you. Thanks for being here. Hit that like button or subscribe button on the way out to both of these fine channels. See you, Eric Grant. Later, Eric, left-handed. That explains so much, says Stephen Rockwood Drawing. I have no idea what that means. Michael Bancroft says gross.
Yeah. What do you expect? That's what I expected.
Yeah. It's tough to see.
I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry you draw with the wrong hand,
But you're British and everybody draws with the left hand on that side of the road or something.
He's Australian.
You know what? None of this makes sense, what I'm saying right now. You can tell it's got to be 5 a.m. somewhere. What do you call it? But yeah, so do you usually do the late night morning thing, working wise? Are you a night owl?
Yeah, my wife will wake up for a couple more hours. I usually get all my stuff done now. I usually sleep during the day, and then I have a dentist visit at like 3. So I'll do that, and then we got our tax returns. So my wife wants to go shopping, so she's gonna buy some work clothes.
There you go. It's a glamorous life we live. I mean, it's like,
oh yeah.
You know what's so funny too is and why I think that the whole this whole thing has collapsed. I don't mean comics, but the woke control of the industry is. Sooner or later, if you drive out all of the people who are actually industrious and do the work, you're left with having to do the work yourself. And you have to be insane to want to do this kind of work. Like, it's so much more fun, or so much more, it's a different experience reading comics, which is why I loved reading comics, than it is to actually create them. Because it's a grind. It's you constantly working, and you have to really love it. And I don't think they loved it ever.
It's a calling. You
Yeah,
can't. There's no you literally. There's a part of my brain that's like, you're a comic artist. Well, that's what we're doing. And it's just like, well, what if I don't want to be? What if I just want to play video games? And it's like, and I'll play video games for like 2 hours, and I'm like, what am I doing? I gotta get back to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say it any fairer than that. The first time, it started out with drawing, could not stop drawing, needed to draw, just was constant. Then I was introduced to comics, and I've been doing it ever since. Like I drew comics, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing in the world. And it's when you're doing painted comics and you're doing, which is essentially what you're doing. You're just using a different tool than I am. You're right. You're coloring it all the way through, right?
Yeah.
It's a very weird thing, isn't it? Like, just you sit down and you're like, well, I'm doing this straight through. I know Michael does it as well. It's a very bizarre thing to need to do. And I find it more strange when anybody comes up to me and when someone says to me, oh, I'm not an artist, I go, you seem like a normal person. A very odd thing, for someone to go even though I do it, oh, I'm an artist, or I want to draw comics. I'm like, oh, God bless you. Well, I guess we're in the same boat.
Yeah. I get a lot of weird, I want to say resentment, because that makes me sound kind of pious. But definitely there's this weird irksome kind of attitude that I get from people I know, where they get annoyed that, I'm able to be successful in art. And it's mostly because they are not successful in their endeavors, right? And it's mostly just because they haven't been doing it every day since they were 7 years old.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. I'm just like, look, I don't know what to tell you. Go back to when you were 7, put a fucking pencil in your hand and say, all right, now do it. And that's what it is. It's just like you started playing whatever guitar in college. All right, well, that's not enough, unfortunately. You needed to probably start when you were like 12, or 6. And
Well,
that's
I started learning the violin over a year ago, and I finally sat around and my wife was cool enough to kind of get me some lessons. And she said, because I told her, I want to play the violin, but I'm one of those people who doesn't spend money on myself. Like, I'm always like thinking, the kids or the missus or whatever. And so she got me violin lessons. I got a violin and I started learning how to play it, and mess around playing things by ear. And I put the time in because I'm interested in learning it, but I don't understand. Like, when I see other people's work, I know it's a combination of either work ethic or talent, and I just don't find resentment to be something that's possible. It's
a lot of people do. That's a huge thing.
It's weird, man. It's weird. I look at the people who back our books. I look at the people who show up for these streams, and that includes you 15 lunatics with us here at 5 a.m. on the East Coast. And I just think
creators.
They're probably all creators. That's right. Probably all working. Or they're already they're heading into work, I know what, or wrapping up that shift, and I just think it's very cool to be in a place to where everybody seems to be working hard. And by comparison to most other groups of people, I think that any resentment that's here is kept to a very dull roar by what I've seen. Because it isn't an area where no one's going to get into Comicsgate for, higher social status, because either people don't know what it is or it can make you a pariah. So the people who are here to work. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I think every now and then, Bancroft will have people not on his show, or you'll see on Crackhead, they'll have a conversation. And I think there's a lot of people who just show up and they're like, "Where's my money?" I made a book.
Now, to be clear, Camel, when I said that on that stream, I legitimately was wondering. No.
That's not you. I mean, there's definitely some of an attitude sometimes where I'm just like, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. If I had come into CG with the book that I was working on for 10 years and then just pitched it and no one knew who I was, I'd be lucky if I hit $5,000. I'd be lucky.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's a bad business model. And I'm not, for my own sake, I was like, so that 10 years of drawing, what a waste of time that would have been,
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to find something to add some type of credence and credibility to my name, my online persona, and then build that audience and then launch that book,
Yeah.
But to start from, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I want $150,000. You're like, all right, get out of here, buddy.
No, but I will say this too. It's I just feel like I remember when one of my favorite expressions was in comparing the difference between two things, saying it's the difference between throwing a bullet or shooting it out of a gun. And I would say the level of craven status seeking and desire for success not based on any objective skill that you see in academia buries anything I've seen anywhere else. It is really incredible to see people who have done nothing rise to the level of chair of a department. And you just go, you don't even draw. How is it possible? It's like, you're
going to have people fail upwards in any industry,
Well, certainly that's why we're all here, right? Thank you, American comic book industry, for creating this unique opportunity for us.
Nature of the beast.
It is the nature of the beast. Well, listen, brother, the birds started chirping here, and I'm sure they're chirping where you are, too, if you're on the East Coast. I better go and try to get some shut-eye and start this process. But thanks for popping in here, man. It's great talking to you.
No problem. I don't know how many of you in the chat decided to sub, but I noticed 2. Now, maybe it was 10. Maybe it was 2. I don't know. But if it was more, then clearly there's an issue with you.
Yeah, with being throttled. Yeah, Julie Pascal saying only good part about the dogs waking me up at 3 a.m. is getting to say hi. Julie, it's great to see you. Thanks for being in here. Yeah, we keep failing upward. And Michael, remember, you owe me your platform. I don't know how many times I have said it, but just get on board with me, you know. And yeah, guys, everybody have a great morning, let's say, and a great rest of the day or night, depending on where you are. And we will see you guys soon. And Camel, I will see you around. I'm going to play us out like Bill O'Reilly, with an original composition that's dedicated to some of my favorite people. And I will talk to you soon, boss. All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Take care, my friend. And I will see you soon. Yeah. Have a good morning, everybody.
Yep.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No gut, huh?
I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.